want to turn these mics up. We're about to go.
I think the puck hit the referee there, and they never get it out. Went to go up the boards to hit the referee. So it was another bad break. Here you go. Hit.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How are you, Miller and Moulton, on this hump day, the first one of May? Thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network. Now the playoffs are underway, baby. We got a 3 overtime game already in the books. Now the playoffs are underway.
Day 2, 3 OTs.
That's right. That's how we roll.
More overtimes than days so far in the playoffs. That's a good thing.
And yes, of course I watched. We have a thing, Miller and Moulton. It's tried and true. Before we did a show together, while we've been doing a show together, during hiatuses together, it's a very simple thing.
Are you in or are you out? And last night I was out. Game 1, Pens, Rangers, went to overtime. It was around 10 o'clock, and I'm like, game 1.
Right.
And don't ask me why, but when they disallowed the goal for the Rangers in the third, I just had this feeling that one overtime was not going to get this done. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to go to bed.
Well, they played for a little while.
They played damn near another game.
They did. They played another 46 minutes of hockey, nearly 5.5 periods. Heck, the backup came in goal for the Penguins and won.
How crazy is that?
Nuts. Guy played 2 games this year. He's 30 years old. I don't even know if he qualifies as a journeyman. He authored a cookbook a couple of years ago.
It's my guy.
No doubt about it. And he's left-handed, which screws everybody up. It was a fun night. And Mark, once you stay up for 2.5 overtimes, you might as well flip over to the fourth quarter of the Warriors and the Grizz.
Absolutely.
And how about young Felipe making the drive across the alley, taking in a little Florida Panthers playoff hockey? Is that your first playoff game?
Yes.
Is it your first playoff game of any sport, by the way?
No, he went to the...
Oh, that's right. He went to the Bucks Rams.
Yeah.
No, but I've also been to several Heat. Yeah.
Okay. So your first playoff hockey game.
Yes.
What'd you think?
It was awesome. 100% worth it. Money well spent.
It's great in person, isn't it?
Yes, despite the loss. And I got to see Alex Ovechkin again.
That's right. One of the
State
all-time
of Florida
greats.
is in a little bit of early trouble.
Hockey teams are both down 0-1. Florida Panthers 30. I love, because you and I, even though we're minor leaguers, you and I, sportscasters, you did mostly hockey. I've done far more basketball than anything else. And you're reading off those juicy stats. And I watched the local Panthers broadcast. When I was going back and forth and watching the national broadcast on the Rangers Penguins, but I watched the Bally Sports.
Okay.
I wanted the Panthers guys.
Right.
And so when Goldie says, and the Panthers 39-0-1 with a lead after 2 periods this year, and I'm thinking to myself, well, don't make tonight be the one. And guess
it
what?
was the one.
Oh, boy. And a team, by the way, never won a playoff series when they lost game 1. Throwing that out there. How quickly it can turn in the playoffs. Hey, we won the President's Trophy. Caps are like, whatever.
Whatever. We've got Alex Ovechkin. We won a cup a couple of years ago. We got a lot of guys on our team that were part of that Stanley Cup winning team. We understand what it takes in the playoffs. You've not won a series this century.
No. You guys are pretty, though. Got to admit, you guys look great in your uniforms. All right. And you know I much prefer the home whites as opposed to the home darks. But the Panthers' red jerseys, kind of cool.
They look good.
Yeah.
They looked good.
They did. They
looked good throughout.
They hit 30 hits in the first period. First period. They had 30 hits.
Really wore Washington down.
Right. Love me the playoffs.
Boston showed everybody they can play a little defense as well.
Well, it's funny. The Bucks left the Celtics open in game 1. Celtics couldn't put the ball in the ocean. Bucks tried the same strategy in game 2. Celtics hit 18 threes.
Right.
Or 23, something ridiculous like that. Meanwhile, Milwaukee made 3 of them. That's a lot. That's like 50 points at the arc. That's tough to overcome.
It is very tough to overcome. And the Celtics just pound the Bucks last night, evening up that series, and Memphis this is just such an entertaining series.
Well, and the other one, the Memphis Golden State.
Memphis Golden State's just such an entertaining series. This is going to be, I hope this goes 7 because this is terrific basketball.
I will say that first off, and then there was controversy early. There was a flagrant foul this time by Memphis, a legit flagrant foul. Broke his elbow, by the way. Guy who got fouled. All right, fell down. Peyton. Yeah, broke his elbow. Yeah.
That's a tough loss for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. And so it'll be interesting to see what the discipline is on that also, because it's one thing, and it's not supposed to matter, but come on now. We've all watched sports. When there's that cross check from behind and the guy goes into the boards and it looks bad, but he ends up being okay. And then there's the cross check from behind and the guy goes into the boards and he's going to be out a month. All right. Oftentimes they throw a couple games on for the effort. It'll be interesting now to see what they do here in this series with Memphis and Golden State, because the Warriors player is going to miss some real time.
All right. Which Florida hockey team's in more trouble right now down 0-1?
The Lightning.
Because of the opponent?
Yeah. I think so.
And I agree with you. However, it is a Panther team that, while we know Toronto heard more noise because there's far more noise when a whole country pays attention as opposed to the Florida Panthers where 16 people pay attention.
Correct.
But the Panthers have to know their drought, and going down 0-1,
Sure.
blowing a third period lead, those things start creeping into your head.
Oh, yeah.
And then at least with the Lightning, they've been there, done that. One loss does not bother them the way that I think it would bother the Florida Panthers. I think equal pressure game 2 on both of these teams, probably a little more on Florida because they're at home.
Maybe that's our poll question. Which Florida hockey teams in more trouble down 0-1?
We are the Florida Sports Network.
Right. And you don't even have to be a fan of either team. You can still have an opinion on the poll question. Listen, we were told by our listeners yesterday, A, we still want the poll questions, but B, do a better job.
Do a better job. So we come at them with a Lightning Panther poll question.
Hey, come on now. It's the playoffs. They're both down 0-1. Lightning back at it tonight in Toronto. Move your feet, boys. Move your feet.
Yeah, skating would be a good thing.
Yes. Looking as if you belong on the same sheet of ice as your opponent. How about we start there?
Early third period of the Panthers game, Alex Ovechkin had a play that changed the entire tide of the game. He had a steal that led to a goal.
Totally.
And
After a blown icing.
Yep.
Should have been icing. The Caps iced the puck down 2-1. The icing was waved off for whatever reason. And the defenseman picks up the puck, skates out of his own, treats it as if it's just a Tuesday game in December against Ottawa. And Ovechkin stands him up at the red line, knocks the puck away, steal, breakaway, goal, 2-2. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Game on, boys.
And that 39-0-1.
That 39-1-1 just doesn't look as good.
No.
That stat does not look as good as it did yesterday, let me tell you.
Especially when they put the playoff stats in there, and it's 0-1.
Yeah. Yep.
President's Trophy, my bleep.
That's right. Well, Ovechkin's looking at them going, we had a couple of those early in my career too. That didn't mean squat. We got bounced early. Ovechkin's looking at them going, we had to go through Sid the Kid and the Penguins. You guys now got to go through us.
Among others, because the East is stacked and proving it early on. Great start to the postseason. Maybe not for Ranger, Lightning, and Panther fans. Oh, yeah, Bruin fans too, but I have trouble worrying about them.
Well, I think even Bruins fans know this, for whatever reason, this is just a bad matchup. They've played 4 games against Carolina this year. They've scored 3 total goals. For whatever reason, they can't score against Carolina. Got to figure that out like now if they're going to want to have a run. But both the NBA and the NHL playoffs are delivering. I know many of you just a football fan, and you can't bring yourself to kill some time over the next 3 months watching other sports. What we're trying to say is you're really missing something. And Memphis Golden State is fun. Memphis stole one last night, by the way. Warriors were awful shooting it from beyond the arc. Like under 20% as a team. It's like worst 3-point shooting they've had in 30 years, and yet still led by 4 late. But
I think this series is one that looks pretty now, but down the line, like when Steph Curry retires and we look back at his career, it's going to look even prettier because Ja will have 3 MVPs at the time, and it'll be Ja versus Steph part 1.
47 for Morant, by the way. Put the team on his shoulders in the 4th and said, we are going to the Bay Area 1-1.
I love your enthusiasm, but I think you got to get to conference finals before you start talking about historic series between players.
Well, it's just a 1v1 matchup. I mean, these are 2 generational point guards.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully for Morant.
Hopefully.
I worry about his durability. He's got a lot of Derrick Rose in him in terms of size and build and what have you. Just
goes to the hole a lot
all the
and
time.
Takes a lot of hits.
Very sporadic player.
Yeah. I will say, though, he's a star because he's getting the star treatment from the officials, and he can carry the ball about 12 to 15 feet. I mean, if they're going to let him literally pick the basketball up from the top of the key and then get to the elbow before he has to do something with the ball again, he's going to be really hard to stop. I'm just saying.
With that speed, I think that's a problem.
Right.
I would go as far as to say that he's better than MVP D Rose.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Derrick Rose before the knee injury.
I know.
Just a little something. They were the 1 seed in the East his MVP year. I'm just saying they weren't the 2 seed in the West. They were the 1 seed in the East. Miller and Moulton. A fun show for you today. Thanks for waking up with us, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Wasn't quite sold out, but it was a really good crowd.
Because Mark was saying that,
In 19678's announced attendance.
because apparently the empty seats were all resale. Like apparently
Right.
the tickets were sold.
I mean,
And the ticket brokers got stuck apparently a little bit.
Or corporate.
Or corporate.
What'd you pay for your seat?
So I actually had $75 in Vivid Seats credit. So I ended up paying, like, I bought 3 tickets for me and 2 of my friends, and we ended up paying $32 each. I really like sitting in the 300 level at an angle where you are looking at it vertically, like you're right behind the goal. I
like to be in the corner,
the corner.
section over you. But I like what you're saying. If you're in the, I like the corners. I get a little better perspective of breakouts. But yes,
I feel like I'm playing Chell, like the game.
I hear you. I know what Chell is.
I know you know what Chell is.
Don't.
You guys talking Jello?
Yeah,
God.
cherry.
David, do you ever play video games?
No.
Why?
I have not played a video game since I was young enough to go to the mall.
Gosh.
All right, and play Pac-Man, I think, is the last video game I played.
David, we need to get you on Madden.
Why?
I need to see.
No. Do you know my daughter never played a video game?
Okay,
She never had a TV in her room, and we never bought her a video game.
not like a DS or
Sounds
anything.
like bad parents to me. but My
Lame.
daughter's got a PlayStation and she's 8. She had it when she was 7. I feel like I've done a good job parenting.
I think you have too.
She's already got her own. She's already got her own golfer with her own outfit, and we play 1-on-1.
In 2K?
And she's awesome.
She play
Just-
Fortnite?
No. She plays the golf game and she has a little car racing game. Then the rest of the stuff she plays games on her tablet.
Gotcha. But I'm just curious what your play calling, how well your play calling will be in a Madden game.
I think we should. Oh, you're never going to believe who I saw yesterday. In fact, I could let you guess the whole show, and I don't think you'd come up with it.
Okay.
I'll give you one clue. He used to sit where Philly does.
E?
Saw E yesterday.
Oh my God, he's still here?
He works for that Scotland,
I-
the new, right by Dr. Franz's new building.
Yeah.
Scotland, they're freight brokers.
My roommate works for Scotland.
He is doing all right. He's got married. He's got 2 kids. Boy 2, girl 6 months. Looked good. Looked happy.
Really? Good
Yep.
for him. Good for him. E used to produce the show, and he didn't like to talk on the microphone, but he was into soccer. And so we had a small soccer discussion, and we told him we were going to ask his opinion on something. And so we tossed it to him, and he paused and went, and then paused again before he started talking. And we cut out that little audio clip and ran it for like 5 years.
E, what do you think?
That's great.
Even when he was gone and he was no longer our producer, we would just throw it and go, E, your thoughts on the matter?
Those were the lean years, guest-wise.
Mm-hmm. And a 4-hour show.
Mm-hmm.
This poor Nashville goalie, because their starters hurt. Boom.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, two very different hosts. One opted not to watch the playoff overtime. Went to bed at a nice solid hour. Got a good night's sleep. He's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to go. That would be Mark Miller.
The other one watched 3 overtimes,
Damn right.
and his team went down in the 3rd overtime.
And then said, well, hell, if I'm up, might as well watch the 4th quarter of the late NBA playoff game.
Did you not? What was left in Calgary, Dallas? Was it over?
No, it was heading to the second intermission at 1-0.
How close were you to a third period?
No, series. That's a series in which I know it's going to be dreadful. Dallas is going to slow it down. Every game is going to be 1-0, 2-1. That series doesn't interest me at all.
Okay. I mean, you were up. That's all. It was
Right.
a 1-goal game.
No, it was an option. But I got to admit, during the long commercial breaks, and there are long commercial breaks in NBA playoff games, I actually flipped over to like the midnight edition of Law and Order. Watched a couple of minutes of that and said, oh, yeah, I remember this one. And then went back to Grizz Warriors.
All right.
That's how much Calgary and Dallas did not interest me. Even though we had fighting and everything apparently in the game.
Yeah, they got after it a little bit in that game. The first round will do that. The first round will have more physicality than any other round of the NHL playoffs. It always does.
Right. And everybody starts getting worn down.
Doesn't mean that it won't continue, but not at the pace that a first round delivers.
I told myself that because I know you said it, and I was waiting for a fight the whole game.
Too close of a game.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, couldn't afford getting the instigator or the extra 2 minutes. So,
and with Florida being up, they're going to walk away from it, even though they end up losing the game. When you're up going to the 3rd, the home team's not going to fight. You're not going to give the other bench any advantage, any chance to get a little extra juice. And then when it's 2-2, there's not going to be a fight.
And then, like the Lightning down 5-0 against Toronto, you knew stuff was going to happen the final 10 minutes of that game.
The old adage, down by 4, start a war.
Nice.
You're going to make a hockey guy out of him yet.
Wouldn't be hard.
It's a great sport.
Look at this. Look at this. Hey, I will say he's gone to see Ovechkin twice.
Right. And Ovechkin had a great play last night. I know he was rooting for the Panthers, but he got to see Ovechkin make a great play, assist on the tire.
The last game that I went to, he scored a goal that put him 4th on the all-time goals list.
Right.
So are you a closet Caps fan?
I mean, I was in a hotel when they won the Stanley Cup, and I vividly remember watching it.
Signs of life over there. That's progress. This is a big ball of clay that we're shaping here.
It really is.
We've got a chance. He seems vulnerable.
But he's still got the stash.
Yeah.
And I still have the NBA. Which is in great hands, by the way.
Quick question. When you drove back across the alley and you arrived at your apartment at around midnight, did you go straight to bed or did you turn on Grizz Warriors? It's a very simple question.
I went to bed.
Okay. All right. Oh, good. We're getting the best of you today. And boy, is it something. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network.
If you've never texted the show, you can do so by texting the keyword FSN Radio to 21,000, FSN Radio to 21,000. Then you are in. If you like the show so much that you can't deal with commercial breaks, go to twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton.
Right.
You'll omit many of the commercials and get to chat with us during the breaks as well.
In which sometimes Felipe actually does doze off. All right. And we have to remind him, hey, we're coming back here. We're coming back. Remember just yesterday?
Yes.
We were talking about how, what are they going to do in college sports? I mean, can you really do anything with what's going on in college sports? Well, man, somebody's listening to the podcast because all of a sudden, yesterday, word that in college football, they're putting a task force together to try to do something about NIL because they think it's gone a little too far and it's a little too much pay for play, and that, we've got to regulate this. We got to pull it back in some way.
Okay.
And then
good luck.
Right. And then the Coaches Association came out yesterday, and this is something we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which we actually think is needed. And we thought they would do it. The college football coaches are proposing 2 transfer windows. One's about a 3-week period, mid-November or late November to mid-December, and the other one is mid-April to like May 1st. Because this is the week, by the way, you can't have – this is the funny thing, at least in basketball, I don't know if it's this way in all sports, like there's no contact this week at all. You are not allowed to call, text, zip, zilch, nothing.
With a recruit.
Correct.
What about someone who's enrolled at another college? They're not really a recruit.
If you're a wide receiver at Pitt, apparently you're allowed to just talk to them 24/7. He's officially took a day and a half, but at 3:00 yesterday, he appeared in the transfer portal.
He did. And with his best friend going to USC as a quarterback,
right,
doesn't leave much to the imagination of where he'll be an hour from now.
Right. Jordan Addison is his name. Yeah.
The Blitnikoff winner, All-American wide receiver,
right,
leaving the school he was at,
right,
well, because the quarterback went to the National Football League.
Right. Now, I will say to the 3 Pitt fans that are listening, you did steal like the best player off Akron last year. I mean, everybody's stealing from everybody. Let's be honest.
Well, that's what's going on. It started out with stealing from the group of 5, if you will. And now the Power 5 are stealing from one another. And that's why a coaches committee is being put together. Once the group of 5 started stealing from the group of 5, the group of 5 coaches says, wait a minute.
Right. We can steal. All right.
I can take every MAC player that I want, but hey, wait a minute.
Hey, no, Power 5 can't steal from Power 5. What the heck? It's not the intent.
Not to mention, you're in the Pac-12.
And meanwhile, they're going, nah, we're USC. And when we have our act together, we're kind of in our own league out here. The rest of college football is going, well, actually, you look a little more like Texas to me. So, X-nay on the USCA. So I found that interesting. I thought you would as well, that there are going to be some attempts to put some of the toothpaste back in the tube.
And I wish them the best of luck.
I do as well. I think they'll get the transfer windows thing, actually, because they can control that. I have no idea how they're going to get agreement about the money. No idea. I don't see how the conferences will listen to the NCAA, to be quite frank. And I think that's the only chance, Mark. a power play by whoever the new person is going to be running the NCAA to set these are the rules, these are the restrictions, and quite frankly, make one of the conferences go, yeah, I don't think so.
Even more so, to further your point, essentially the schools don't have anything to do with the NIL. So I'm trying to figure out what the conferences could say to the schools to stop the boosters from doing what they're doing because they're not a part of the university. The Gator Collective is not part of the University of Florida.
Right. I think that's what the NCAA is going. I know you guys are setting this up where it's not a part of the university, but we all know that you're in cahoots with the athletic department and, people are talking and, plausible deniability is what you guys are doing here, but we all know you're communicating.
We all know that you are. Good luck stopping it.
Just saying that's apparently that was the news yesterday. The NCAA may actually try to be the NCAA again. And the coaches are going to come up with a transfer window. The starting five is next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It was a job that was created.
Okay, Matt Fortuna was the one that
Gotcha.
we had him on the show, haven't we?
Yep.
He's the one that wrote the article like who should take over college football. I just,
Did you see this moment in the Yankees-Blue Jays game? The Blue Jays fan catches the Aaron Judge home run ball and hands it to the young kid in the Judge jersey.
it's so cool.
Yep. Look at the kid crying. He's so happy. Oh, I thought he got him.
I would love to go to the Rogers Centre. The Rogers Centre. Wait, you called him safe?
Led to a big inning. I think it led to a 6 spot.
Dude, Aaron Judge has been on fire.
Yeah, he has. And then Stanton homer to the 9th. And by the way, that one is still traveling.
I'm so glad that I got to watch him at his peak in the Marlins.
The 59 home run season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something. Let me tell you.
We were commenting. He was hitting home runs that year and I know you don't follow golf that closely, but Tiger in his prime had a stinger 2-iron off the tee.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And Stanton was hitting like stinger 2-irons.
Yes. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That would just kill you if you got in the way of it. They'd be like 20 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
They'd take out like seats in the Budweiser section.
Yeah. He would damage that ugly statue in the outfield that the Marlins used to have. He would damage it.
Should have stayed.
Should have
It was
stayed.
the only thing good about the Marlins.
Oh my God! It's April Fool's Day, right?
No, Mark, you're dead serious.
It was the only thing recognizable at the whole ballpark. It was very Miami.
Oh, because it shot up water in the air and
No, because it was artsy and didn't make any sense and was completely out of place. That's Miami art.
no, a lot of Miami art makes sense. That was an atrocity. And I think it was like a couple $1 million. And really, the retractable roof isn't recognizable.
I didn't realize, I guess, in the interview that Domingue there knocked down a big meal before the game. He says Darren Ravel, he's so confident he wouldn't have to go and eat a meal of spicy pork and broccoli right before he went in.
Oh, the backup, really?
Oh, I gotta send Ding Dong his invite.
Boy, Adam, what a party pooper you are.
How much longer do we have on this break?
About a minute, I think.
Can you give me computer volume?
Yes.
I actually had quite the meal in between the first. I think we believe. I actually had quite the meal in between the first and the second overtime. I didn't expect going in, but maybe it sustained my energy. So it was cool though. It was cool to be part of that.
It's awesome.
We can run that if you want during the starting five.
I don't even. It's Domingue, right?
Domingue. Louis Domingue.
So, hockey games are in between NBA games and NFL games in terms of time, usually on average.
Hockey games are the shortest.
About 220.
Shorter than NBA games.
Yeah.
Oh, far shorter.
Yeah.
Without overtime.
60 minutes of action, though.
Right?
No timeouts, though. Or
Also, only 2 intermissions.
Well, but there's only one in basketball. But it's just shorter. Clock runs longer.
Each period takes about a half hour. About 35 minutes it takes to play a period of hockey in actual game real time.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Got a good show lined up today. We do say so ourselves. I mean, if we're not going to promote us, who the heck will? Mike Masala covers the Dolphins. All right, now that the offseason work's done, let's take a look. Let's see where they're at. Let's stack them up against the rest of the conference. See whether or not this should be a playoff team or not. Mike Masala, 1 hour from now. Wonder how David Dwork's going to be at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. He's our Panthers guy.
Yeah, I don't think he'll suck it up for the interview. He'll play it glass half full, but I don't think he actually believes it.
Channel 10 in Miami, host of Chirping the Cats. It's a Florida Panthers podcast. I don't know.
Cats are chirping the
I
cats.
was going to say, I don't know how much chirping you're doing. You blow a third period lead and you lose at home. And our buddy Seth Everett will join us, and goodness knows what mood he'll be in and what he'll want to talk about.
Probably the hockey playoffs.
And for that matter, 2 hours from now, goodness knows what mood we'll be in and what we'll want to talk about.
It's a dadgum good point.
Do we have a poll question yet?
Oh, God. Yeah, we got to do one of those, don't we?
Why don't you? I threw out my nomination for one. Why don't you think about it? Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know.
Uh-oh.
It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Man, Vicky sounds like the Panthers in the third period.
She feels
last
very
night.
hip-hop today.
Man. Hey, did you catch this Ryan Tannehill story? Couple stories. Tannehill talked yesterday.
Yeah.
The first one is he was asked, hey, you going to mentor Malik Willis?
No. Anybody else surprised by that answer?
Apparently, people are offended.
What?
People are
What?
just, I mean, don't
How
people,
many quarterbacks have been asked this question? They have all given the same damn answer for 30 years.
well, some give the politically correct answer, but
He
I mean-
said it's not my job to mentor him. If he
right,
learns something from me, that's great.
right.
That's his job's to win, to prepare for the next opponent and win football games. That is
Right.
his job.
Right. I'd like to ask a simple question. Name the quarterback that Tom Brady has mentored.
How about Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Rodgers is a much better mentor than Brett Favre was to Aaron Rodgers. Just ask Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
You don't think Brady did any mentoring
Nothing.
to
Tom
Garoppolo?
Brady got in the way intentionally of Jimmy Garoppolo in New England. Absolutely, positively did. Knew Belichick wanted to move on from him for Garoppolo and got in his way. Look it up. Ask around.
All right.
Any stories about Brady putting his arm around Kyle Trask, grooming the next great Bucs quarterback?
Not their job. I don't even know why it's a question you ask. I know why you asked the question, because you're hoping that you get this answer.
Any Peyton Manning put his arm around any of the Colts backups or Brock Osweiler when they were trying to win a Super Bowl together in Denver? I'll wait for the story. I'm here till 10 in the morning every day.
Oh, I thought you were saying here for the next 10 years. That's what we're hoping for. And if that's the case, still not going to get the story.
But also, Tannehill got serious, in which he was asked about, what's motivating you this offseason, all that. And he said, I had a really hard time getting over the playoff loss. So much so, I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks. And he said, I had to go see a therapist. He goes, and it was hard. He said, no, I'm still seeing a therapist. He said, I don't know if I'll ever get over my performance in that loss. Wow. Some serious stuff.
A lot of Tennessee fans won't either.
Falcons and defensive tackle Grady Jarrett agreed to a 3-year, $51 million extension. 34 of it's guaranteed, so 2 of the 3 years are guaranteed. He's going to play this year at $16 million. He's 29, and then he'll play at $17 million for the 3 years after that. He was a 5th-round pick out of Clemson. We just had the draft, and
Right.
You wonder. So 7 years ago, he was a 5th-round pick, one of the best D linemen in the game. Tyler Hero won the 6th Man of the Year award yesterday. He got almost all of the first-place votes, 96 out of 100. On the court, Celtics, with no Marcus Smart, got 30 from Jaylen Brown, hit 23s. Meanwhile, the Bucks only hit 3 of them. That'll do it. Boston 109-86 over Milwaukee, series tied at 1. Ja with 47 for the Grizz, who were down 4 late, outscored Golden State 13-4 to end the game. Memphis 106-101 over the Warriors, series tied at 1. They won't play till Saturday.
That's the NBA for you, kids.
That's the networks getting involved.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Tyler Hero was the first 6th Man of the Year in Heat history. Just a little
Oh,
fun
that's
fact
very
for you.
important. Thanks for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Heat 8-point favorites tonight against
The
the
show
Spurs.
can go on.
By the way, I'll take Philly in the points tonight.
I'm not ready to make those predictions yet. It's way too early.
And Phoenix, a 6-point favorite at home against Dallas.
I'm on an NBA heater right now, David.
You are. We both like Memphis, who was getting 2 last night.
Yes, we did.
And
You liked Boston.
Yeah, I thought they'd
I just
win
said
and
I was
cover.
staying away.
Right. The Caps trailed 2-1 after 2. The Florida Panthers were 39-0-1 during the regular season when they had a lead heading into the third period. They're now 39-1-1. Caps scored 3 in the third, including an empty netter, to win it 4-2. To make matters worse for the Panthers, they have never, ever won a playoff series after losing game 1. Of course, they haven't been in the playoffs all that much the last 25 years, but still. Panthers down 1-0. Lightning down 1-0. If you're looking for a poll question,
I know.
Which Florida hockey team's in more trouble?
Right.
It's just my suggestion. The Penguins and the Rangers played 6 minutes into the third overtime when Evgeny Malkin tipped in a wrister from the blue line, and Pittsburgh never led until they led. 4-3 in 3 overtimes. Penguins win game 1 of the series. This was a remarkable game in many ways. First off, the Penguins scored 3 in the second period after trailing 2-0. The Rangers scored what appeared to be the go-ahead goal with 3 minutes to go. Controversial overrule on the goal. Mark, since obviously you're going to be a little more objective than me, I thought it was a tough call.
I thought it was a very tough call. It's almost embarrassing for me to say this, having spent the majority of my adult life working in hockey. This was a goal from the time I was born
until when?
Until
2015?
2-3 years ago.
Okay.
4 years ago. I'm not exactly.
And I mean a no-brainer.
No. A no-brainer. There's no controversy. There's no replay. There's no sense of replay. I watched it in real time. I went, all right, Rangers scored. And then I went, they showed the replay. And I'm like, ooh. And the minute there was a challenge, I looked at my wife, who's a Pens fan. I said, they're going to take this goal away. And she said, why? I said, well, he hits the goalie before the Penguins player hits him, even though the Penguins player was on him and touching him and trying to defend him. But he clearly, to me, hit the goaltender first. He moved the goaltender. The Penguin defenseman then clears the goaltender well out of the net.
Rangers shooting in the open net.
I didn't like the call, but I knew it was coming.
I didn't like it in this sense, and not because I'm a Rangers fan. I didn't like it because, to me, it just looked like a hockey play.
I'm with you.
You know how?
You asked
what
me
is
before
that?
the show? What is he supposed to do differently?
Right.
And what I said to you is he's got to cut up before the blue circle in front of the net, and I don't know how he does that with also not going into the goaltender, because he cuts earlier. 3 of them are going into the goalie.
So they took the goal off the board. Then they're in the middle of the second overtime, and all of a sudden the Penguins goalie skates over to the bench. And everybody's wondering, what the heck's going on here? And then he just skates off the ice. And he's done, never to be seen again. And the backup goalie, who's not even on the bench.
Right, the backup goaltender's in the tunnel.
Right. And all of a sudden, Louis
Dominique?
Okay. He comes in. He's played 2 games.
Domingue, I think.
Louis
Louis Domingue.
He's played 2 games this year. He's 30 years old. He published a cookbook a couple years ago. He's barely a journeyman. He comes in. He's left-handed. And he stops like 15 shots. Now, he wasn't very graceful, I got to admit. He looked like us trying to, skip our way across a pond. But, hey, man, puck didn't end up in the back of the net. He ends up the winning goalie.
David, here's the kicker. After the game, when asked about it, not only did he stop 17 shots, he had a bite to eat between the first and second overtimes.
It would be nice if the producer paid attention to the show.
I think we believe. I actually had quite the meal in between the first and the second overtime. I didn't expect going in, but maybe it sustained my energy. So it was cool, though. It was cool to be part of that.
You say quite the meal. What was it?
Some spicy pork and broccoli.
Spicy pork and broccoli. That'll get it done and get you the W. Louis Domingue for the Pens last night.
Could be the team meal before game 2. You know how superstitious hockey teams are.
Just don't know whether or not Louis is going to cook it this time.
Meanwhile, while the Penguins and Rangers are playing for like 2 hours without scoring a goal, Colorado scored 5 in the first against Nashville. Nathan McKinnon with 2 goals and an assist. Makar with a goal and 2 assists. This series is not going to last very long. Colorado 7-2. Calgary scored 5 minutes into the game, and that was it. It's kind of like a first-inning homer in baseball. Flames beat Dallas 1-0 to lead the series 1-0. Bunch of game 2s tonight. Tampa in Toronto, Boston and Carolina. They're both down 1-0. Meanwhile, the home teams out west, Minnesota and Edmonton, are hosting St. Louis and the Kings respectively, and they're down 0-1. Baseball, the Rays beat the A's 10-7-10. Mike Zunino, a 2-run homer in the 9th to tie it. The Rays scored 5 in the 10th. But here's the big question. We set the over-under at 3,000. Over-under Tuesday night in Oakland.
I didn't watch a bit of it, but it is Tuesday. I'm going to give him 31-14.
Felipe, over-under 3,000 Rays A's.
Over.
28-15.
Damn!
28-15.
I set the number and I didn't trust it, David.
So we've gone 24-88 and 28-15. This is Major League Baseball, ladies and gentlemen. This is not minor league. In fact, this is an insult to minor league baseball all over the country.
This isn't minor league hockey either.
No, it is not. Arizona beat the Marlins for the second straight night, 5-4. Second straight night, they took a 5-0 lead into the 7th, and the Marlins scored 4 times in the 7th. Strange. Yankees have won 11 in a row. They scored 6 in the 7th. They beat Toronto 9-1. Judge had a homer, 3 RBIs. Stanton hit a ball that's still traveling to North America. Milwaukee doubled up Cincinnati 6-3.
Where are you going to go?
The Reds have lost 18 of 19 since their president and COO said
Where are you going to go?
they are 3-20.
It's the first score I look at every morning.
Mets,
They're not done before I go to bed. It's the first score I look at every morning.
Mets swept the twin bill from the Braves 5-4, 3-0. Twins have won 12 of 13. They beat Baltimore 7-2. Red Sox held the Angels to 3 hits and a 4-0 win. White Sox beat the Cubs in bad weather 3-1. Dusty Baker got his 2,000th win. He's only the 12th manager to ever do it. First African-American to win 2,000 games. Really should be in the Hall of Fame. He was a very good player, and he's an even better manager. He should be in the Hall of Fame. That is a Hall of Fame 50-year career Dusty Baker has had, in my opinion. Royals beat the Cardinals 7-1. Nats 10-2 over Colorado. Dodgers now in first place in the West, 3-1 over the Giants. Texas beat the Phillies 6-4. And the United States is now considering Brittany Griner to have been, quote, wrongfully detained, unquote, in Russia.
Really?
Wow.
It only took you this long to figure it out, huh?
Imagine
Wow.
that.
That was the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Really? Think she's been wrongfully detained. What was your first clue? Jeez. Wow. Is this how they handle things diplomatically? Not trying to upset anybody? Miller and Moulton. Thanks for waking up with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals. The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
They were good. He goes, I just look at him.
Deepak, how's the
Body
Fat
language
Cats
is
going,
shit.
man?
It's his grandfather.
How's the Fat Cats going? Give me an update. When's it coming? I'm waiting.
I think it's her kid from I know it's her kid from a previous marriage, but PK's grandfather. He says, man, I've never felt so bad. He goes, I forgot who I was talking to. He goes, I was just talking to a player. He goes, your body language is for shit. He goes, a little fucker goes out on the next shift and scores a goal. He goes, and doesn't talk to me the whole ride home.
That's probably good.
Hockey poll question. What the fuck's going on?
Oh, we just roll with that. What Florida team is in more trouble? Panthers, Lightning. That's simple. It doesn't have to be four answers. It can just be yes or no. I think the way to make the poll questions better is by making them simpler.
Did you hear that, Mark? Felipe believes to make our poll questions better, we need to make them simpler.
Make them good for fans of the show. Like yes or no questions. Should Felipe shave his mustache? Yes or no?
Just said. You do know Mark doesn't have his earplugs in, so he can't hear
I
any
know,
of this.
I
right?
know. I'm just riffing.
Which is probably a good thing.
On purpose.
He just said,
Here's what I want out of you.
Okay.
well, okay.
When we go through a commercial break and play audio, and we say we're going to play it in the starting five, I'd like you to be ready for me to play the audio. When you can pitch a no-hitter for a show, you can start telling me how to do a poll question.
I'll give you a
Because you didn't even get through the first inning without an error.
I'll give you a perfect game tomorrow. Never lost.
The Heat play tonight. There's not a chance.
Yeah, no chance. If they win, maybe there's a chance he can give us a perfect game. If they lose, no chance at all.
I do like watching Luka. So.
Do you like watching Luka? Yes or no?
No, that's not what I mean. Oh my god.
Come on. You got to roll with the punches.
Do you think the Heat are going to win tonight? Yes,
Yes
or no?
no?
No, that's not what I mean.
Hello.
Do you think Felipe's stash looks like something from a 70s porn movie? Yes or no?
No, it looks better.
No, it doesn't.
Shh.
You got nothing on Peter North. I don't even know if he had a mustache. It was the only male porno name I could come up with right there.
God.
I'd come up with a few more if I think about it. John Holmes.
You ever heard of Johnny Sins?
No.
You know Cameo, that app?
No.
No? It's an app where like celebrities, they'll take videos of themselves saying whatever you want them to say. And you put it
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's a porn star and he has a Cameo account. And it's like infamous.
There are people who do what we do for a living that have Cameo accounts
Yeah.
that charge like $10 for
I
happy
bet
birthdays.
you if you made a Cameo account, people would. Maybe. I don't know. All right, KW. Screw you. We're coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. First hump day in May. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll talk a little Dolphins, a little more than 35 minutes. Talk a little Panthers next hour. Seth Everett, weekly appearance, will be next hour. All right. Yesterday, our question was about poll questions.
It's up.
We were told, keep them, just do a better job.
Well, very Florida-centric poll question here and very hockey and Florida-centric, which is leading to probably a disaster of a poll question.
34 votes.
Probably.
Right.
Both the Lightning and Panthers are down 0-1 in the playoffs. Which team is in bigger trouble in their series, the Lightning or the Panthers?
Huh? Lightning on the road tonight in Toronto. Panthers have home ice against everybody, but lost game 1. They're facing the Washington Capitals. That's our poll question. Who's in more trouble? The Panthers, who have never won squat. The Lightning, who have won 3 cups this century, including back-to-back. But I say Tampa because they're playing a better team. The Leafs are better than the Caps.
They are 100%. Panthers did lose at home.
They did. Yep. They've never won a playoff series when they lost game 1.
Right.
No, I got you.
When's the last time they won a playoff series?
That would be the first term of the Clinton administration.
Right. They're 0 for this century.
Oh, yeah. Very much so. In fact, the last time the Florida Panthers won a playoff series, the Yankees' latest dynasty had not yet begun. Because it was May of 96 that they won the Eastern Conference Final. The Stanley Cup Finals were played in June. Jeter's a rookie, by the way. Jeter's 2 months into his career. Think about that. Tom Brady is a freshman at Michigan. In fact, I'm trying to think if Tom Brady was at Michigan. He was. Tom Brady, I think, is just finishing his freshman year at Michigan. The last time the Florida Panthers won a playoff series. Derek Jeter's a rookie. Michael Jordan and the Bulls are finishing off a historic regular season, and they are steamrolling people in the 96 playoffs. That's how long ago the Florida Panthers won a playoff series. That seems like a long time. I don't know about you.
I mean, I've been married, had a kid, divorced, 10 years of debauchery, married another kid.
So what you're saying is it's been a while?
Been a while.
I'm sorry.
I remember where I watched the Panthers lose their last series.
I do too. I was on my honeymoon.
That's right.
I was on my honeymoon. First full night married, in fact.
And I was at a Holiday Inn in Raleigh. I had just moved from Nashville to Raleigh to take a job with the Raleigh Ice Caps, David.
I was in Madeira Beach.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Rooting on the Panthers really close to where they played.
Yep. Wife fell asleep. All right. I mean, she
check.
First night as a married couple. Because remember, they lost in 4 overtimes. All right. They lost early in the 4th overtime in game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Either 3rd overtime or 4th overtime. I think it was the 3rd, come to think of it. But Uwe Krupp.
I was just going to tell you, Uwe Krupp.
And
the big man.
Yep. You know, all romantic, got the pillow, on my right thigh, and the wife's laying down. We're in a nice big suite in the hotel. She's laying down. I'm running my fingers through her hair. Yep. And she asked the question, how long we watching this? And I said, till it ends.
You are a special catch, David. And at that time, my wife had fallen asleep, and I remember sitting there on the end of the bed because you got the volume down, not wanting to wake her up and not get too excited to wake anybody in the overtime.
Right. No, I had to do the same thing. I wanted to, I was actually rooting for the Avs, and
I wasn't.
It's that whole Quebec Nordique thing, right? But anyway, so it seems like it's been a while ago.
A while.
Yeah. It's the last time the Panthers have won a playoff series. We're just saying. That's our poll question. At that Mark Miller, at the David Moulton. I'll retweet it here soon. At FL Sports Network, all on Twitter. And then you can go to floridasportsnetwork.com and vote on the poll question there. We mentioned this briefly last hour. So Ohio State Athletic Director Gene Smith, he was just kind of shooting the bull yesterday. Big Ten had their spring meetings. And so, media's got nothing to do, right? Fill some space and some time. So they get him talking. Say, hey, uncertain times here. You got any ideas? And he said, yeah, I've come up with some ideas. And he said, we need different rules. We can create our own rules, create our own governance structure, implement our own implementation, have our own requirements, whatever that is. It might be in the medical field, for example. A student athlete gets hurt, injured, or whatever. We can take care of it the way we want to take care of it. We have the funding in place to do that. Don't touch anything else with the NCAA. Keep the academic requirements in place. But the fact is that the schools offering 85 football scholarships have made a different commitment to football, and this needs to be addressed. Now, I will say he's not asking for the 5 or 6 conferences to break away from the others. He's saying, no, us 10. I mean, he's including the group of 5, if you will. But he's saying, no. We need to basically, as we've made the analogy over the years, be Social Security in terms of the budget. Social Security is its own side thing. It's not really part of the budget. Social Security is Social Security. Well, that's what Gene Smith is recommending that college football be.
Don't tear the NCAA apart. Just let them have their Division II, Division III football. Let them have basketball.
And even FCS. He says, I still want them to run the North Dakota State tournament, if you will.
And I think and I don't know this, obviously, but I do think he's quietly saying, if you don't want to join, if you don't feel that your 85 is the same as my 85, then go to FCS.
Right. There are others like Dabo and a few other coaches who really believe, like the Middle Tennessee States of the world, the FAUs, the FIUs. Listen, if you don't want to keep up with the Joneses, we get it. We understand, because we're all in and we ain't looking back. And so maybe you should be doing something different. I mean, Dabo suggested, though, that there should be, say, 45 to 50 schools that are in the majors, and then the other.
I agree with Dabo, for the record.
But he even thinks that the other 50 or so should be above FCS. Like, they can do their own thing, and then you can have FCS and what have you.
Yeah, I guess I don't, because I think they should. I've said for a long time, there's no, North Dakota State's better than most of the MAC schools. They should be playing at the same level. I think it would be better for all of them. And that doesn't prevent the FBS schools from playing them.
He said, Gene Smith, Ohio State Athletic Director, the college football playoff model needs to be looked at differently. When we think about expansion, we have to think about structure, and that's expansion of the playoff. The truth is we need to start controlling our own space. We have to make sure we are careful about antitrust, but at the end of the day, we need different rules. Now, I got to be honest. I don't know how many restraints are placed on the Power 5 schools, never mind even the Sun Belt. I mean, the NCAA has not, quote unquote, handled the highest level of Division I football since the mid 80s. I mean, they lost the court case in 85, 86 there.
My follow-up would have been, do you need a commissioner then?
Well, Colorado AD Rick George has been saying for years they at least need someone to oversee the sport the same way that college basketball has. I think I don't know if it's Dan Javit. All right. They've got who's senior vice president of basketball for the NCAA. The Colorado AD believes college football needs the same thing. And what we've said is that sounds great, but who the hell's Greg Sankey going to listen to?
Greg Sankey already said, he wants no part of the commissioner job because he was already basically taken his name out of replacing Mark Emmert. Couldn't run from that fast enough.
I'm sure the next line is, what are you kidding? I have more power than Mark Emmert. Why would I want that job? I got more power now.
But immediately, when his name was, no. I have no interest in that job. So to your point, why would he want to worry about the other conferences when he's running college football as it is?
I just don't see how someone is going to be listened to. Now, I do think if it's within the NCAA umbrella and somebody wants to try to put their hands on college football through Indianapolis, I think it's the only chance, because it kind of forces everybody to either you're living by NCAA or you're fully breaking away.
Well, the only other way to me is if the Big Ten and SEC embrace this, because there's no need for them to embrace taking on the other Power 5 conferences because they are so far ahead of them in so many different ways. And there's never been any momentum for the Big Ten and the SEC to join forces in any way, let alone have them join forces with the other conferences. I know they have their little alliance between the Pac-12, the ACC, and the Big Ten. But at the end of the day, that alliance has really done nothing for the ACC and the Pac-12.
Miller and Moulton.
Do you see the Big Ten and the SEC championing this? Because to me, that would be the way that it would happen. They would have to embrace this.
Mark, wait until you see the Big Ten TV deal that comes down the pike in the next month. Wait until you see it. It could be $1 billion a year.
And they're going to share that with the Big 12 and the Pac-12 and the ACC, right?
And they're going to want to play ball with others. I think this Big Ten media deal could be so big that the SEC may blush and go, "Wow, we really screwed up our deal." The Big Ten at the absolute perfect time is going to put a deal together which is going to make people blush. It's going to be so big. So, no, I don't think they're listening to anybody. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Text Gumbart and say if he's one of the 22 conferences.
By the way, Hops, it was coming down the pike. It goes all the way back to like a book over 100 years ago.
And pike refers to turnpike. Just for the record.
And then I texted him, since I was up, I watched fourth quarter of Warriors Grizzlies. Ian's, I'm assuming you stayed up.
Oh, yeah. No doubt if he's just getting here at 7:19.
Right.
Late arriving crowd to Miller and Moulton due to the fact that the Pens Rangers went to triple overtime.
Last time the Panthers won a playoff game, neither Miller nor Moulton lived in Florida.
The Florida Everblades weren't even a thought.
Felipe wasn't a thought.
My kids weren't a thought.
Hell, my older brother wasn't even a thought.
How old's your older brother?
He's 2 years older than me.
So born in 98?
Yes. LeBron was in grade school.
Peyton Manning was at Tennessee.
Who was the
We
president?
need to
Bill Clinton.
we need to keep coming up. I mean, this is it's one thing to get on the Leafs, but I mean it is
All right, how much
I
was
hate to say
gas?
it.
Let's check gas.
it is the Florida Sports Network.
Yep.
How much was gas in 1996?
In the spring of 96.
Oh God, under a buck.
Oh,
Under a buck, 96 cents.
I'm guessing like $1.15.
okay, hold on. I need because there's a bunch of numbers being thrown around here. So let's see. Let's go March. No, that's just
May was technically the last time they won a playoff
Yeah,
series.
May of 96.
right. But March, it's around the same time. We're looking at $1.71. Most.
No way.
I'm also seeing $1.23.
That seems
Oh no, yeah, it's $1.23. $1.23.
That's a buck. I got $1.30. I got $1.43, but that's also nationwide.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for making us part of your day. We're Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Mike Masala, who covers the Dolphins for the Dolphins Wire, will join us in a little less than 20 minutes. David Dwork, who covers the Panthers, getting up early for us after the Panthers lost their playoff opener. Blew a third period lead, something they had literally not done all year, 39-0-1 when leading after 2. Oops. 2-1 lead became a 4-2 defeat. And we made the Panthers and the Lightning the focus of our poll question. They're both down one spit in their playoff series. Who's in more trouble?
So for those of you that wanted us to continue poll questions, but to get better, we didn't.
Come on. What are you saying? I think we're doing a better job.
Both the Lightning and Panthers are down 0-1 in the playoffs. Which team is in bigger trouble in their series right now? Early voting. There's not a lot of you voting, but those of you who are voting for the Florida Panthers.
I voted Lightning.
I voted Panthers because, well, the Panthers haven't won a playoff series this century.
In fact, it led us to do the old, the last time the Florida Panthers won a playoff series. And you know me, Mark, first thing I do is I go presidential administration.
Yes.
So we were in Bill Clinton's first term. In fact, in the spring of 96, he was considered vulnerable. He had kind of bottomed out 95. Actually, the Oklahoma City bombing, which kind of started his, he was pretty good in the speeches he gave, and it kind of helped him. And but in the spring of 96, he's considered vulnerable, although the economy is purring. But he's still in his first term, and we don't know who he's running against yet. Probably Bob Dole, but, I don't know if it's decided. That's where we're at.
Every time you say that, I almost break into Bob Dole is gorgeous. Sorry.
Final words from
Yeah,
that movie.
Robin Williams movie, Birdcage. There you go.
So then once we get off that, it's like Tom Brady was a freshman at Michigan. Peyton Manning was still at Tennessee.
Where was LeBron?
In grade school.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan was in his first full season back with the Bulls after unretiring. They were about to win 70 games and win the finals rather easily.
Gas was $1.30 a gallon.
Steve Spurrier and the Gators had just lost the national championship game, 62-24 to Nebraska. The 96 season obviously had not started yet. Derek Jeter was a rookie. The Yankees' latest dynasty had not yet begun.
Always Be My Baby was number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart.
I was checking that as well. Little Bone Thugs and Harmony with the Crossroads at number 1.
There you go.
Anytime I can bring Bone Thugs and Harmony into the show, I'm doing it. I don't know. He went Mariah Carey.
I don't know.
It says a lot about him.
I don't know who Bone Thugs and Harmony is. I'm sorry.
You're not alone, by the way. You're not alone. Don't be shy about this one.
Someone asked, by the way, if you want to text the show, text FSN Radio. That's our keyword if you've never texted before to 21,000. Once you do, you're in. This person asks, is David fasting? He sounds a little grumpy this AM. He's not fasting. He stayed up for every one of the overtimes of the hockey game last night.
Come on, man. 56 years old. That team loses, they lose. I can roll with it. Besides, I've made my peace with it. I'm only getting one cup in my lifetime. That's okay.
A couple weeks before the last Panthers playoff win, Keyshawn Johnson was.
That's right. Pat Kerwin picked Keyshawn.
Yep.
First overall in the draft.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now he's on ESPN every morning.
He's been retired for a while. Yeah.
And a Leafs fan texting going, this whole Panthers thing's cute.
Right. Think about it. It was so long ago that the Leafs Stanley Cup drought was less than 30 years.
The Leafs have won a series since the last time the Panthers have won a series.
Now, Hops in our Twitch chat room says ER was the number 1 television show in 96. So it was bigger than Seinfeld because Seinfeld really got going. It took 3 years for Seinfeld to catch on. But 94, I think, was the first year that it got a full run of episodes. But that sounds about right. I mean, ER capped off NBC's Thursday night lineup.
The irony, David, is that The Birdcage was the number 1 movie in the land in March of 96.
That's fantastic. And you know why? Bob Dole is gorgeous.
I'm sorry. It was a funny line then. It's a funny line now.
Fosse, Fosse, Fosse. Just keep it all on the inside.
I got Mission Impossible from May 1996.
I just said what was in March.
Oh.
That's all right.
March, May.
Just because we were talking about The Birdcage. That was why I said.
Right.
I love how people are now so fatalistic after one playoff game. Jake, I jinxed myself. I was hoping for a Rangers-Panthers series so I could go to a game. Well, it's one game. It's one game.
And not all of the teams that lost game 1 will lose their series.
No. Although Nashville will. That we can take to the bank. Damn.
Wow.
Ooh-wee.
But I mean, if the Celtics were panicking after game 1, which they were not, they lost a game 1 at home. They lost home court advantage. What did they do last night? They went out and just absolutely pounded the Milwaukee Bucks.
By the way, no Marcus Smart. Explain
Correct.
that. That's crazy.
But no Middleton for the Bucks either. So it's not like both teams weren't without a key piece.
Well, yeah, but Middleton didn't play game 1 either. But true, still no Middleton.
Celtics hit their threes if you missed it. They couldn't put the ball in the ocean in game 1. They hit 20 out of 43 threes in game 2. That'll play, as they say.
Absolutely.
46% from beyond the arc.
I mean, that's 27. I mean, obviously, that's 27 points difference just in the 3-point differential between the two teams because the Bucks were awful.
So that's how long it's been since the Panthers have won a playoff series. So you could see why the 17 Panthers fans that they are just freaking out this morning.
I'm guessing it'll be a lot easier to get Wednesday tickets than it was to get Thursday tickets instead of last night's tickets because, well, Miami fans have been known to jump off a bandwagon rather quickly.
You say that's it? That's it? Best regular season in the league, one playoff loss, and boom, done?
I think the game was sold out last night by a ticket count. I know there were empty seats because you could clearly see it on television. There will be far more empty seats for game 2.
I don't doubt it.
That's disgraceful.
You're darn right. That sums up
Absolutely
the South
disgraceful.
Florida sports fan.
Still a great crowd, though. Like I said, electric, playoff hockey.
Look at him. Look at the convert we have over there.
Yeah. Saw
All right.
it live.
All right, very quickly, because we're running short on time. You've been to Heat playoff games. You've been to it now, a hockey playoff game. You're a bigger basketball fan, a much bigger basketball fan, but from an arena atmosphere.
Yeah, nothing beats the Heat playoffs.
All
White,
right.
white hot. They fill that arena in white. It's, it's going down.
By the way, I just lost one of my jobs. All right. Gary Danielson's listening.
Fired you again?
Realized that I stayed up for all 3 overtimes of the Rangers Penguins. He just said,
You've got my number.
He just said, I need somebody smarter than that
You've got my number, Gary.
working with me.
It's the first time you've been fired in May in a long time.
Well, it's the first time I've been fired in 2022. That's true.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals. The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Look at this little pass.
Takes out of midair. That was the little line I liked that McDonough said last night after a couple of tips. He goes, the way these guys are able to just the non-hockey guy sometimes says some things as as a non-traditional hockey broadcaster.
Mm-hmm.
I do think sometimes brings some things up in the game that I'm like, yeah, you should point that out. We kind of all take this for granted. Well, Johnny, for the record, I hated the call. I knew it was going to get called. And it was only a penalty only a non-goal, in the last 2 years, 3 years?
Well, Johnny, Mark, though, believes it should have been a goal.
I knew they were going to call it off, but I thought it was a goal.
Did you see this? This one? It's 3-0 when he does this.
Oh. All right. Did you see? Okay, so Matt Kenseth is a modern era class Hall of Fame guy this year.
Yeah. Right. What did he do?
Well, no, I mean, there's only 2 from the modern era that get in. It's Neil Bonnet, Tim Brewer, Jeff Burton, Carl Edwards, Harry Gant, Harry Hyde, Matt Kenseth, Larry Phillips, Ricky Rudd, and Kurt Shumaroni? I've never heard of him.
I don't know.
I don't know who that is, but I did not realize that Harry Hyde was not in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And Harry Gant should just get in for the car that he drove.
Hell. Just for the Skull Bandit.
That's what I'm talking about. And AJ Foyt is on the Pioneer ballot. I think he should kind of be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, don't you think?
Sure. Didn't he win Daytona?
I don't know the answer to that.
I know Mario did. Thank you, Sunking. Well, NG, Lindy, what they ruled is that the Ranger forward made contact first, and therefore everything the Penguins defenseman did afterwards is essentially irrelevant.
I love that Wink News has tweeted out twice that Career Source's Tuesday job fair at Florida Gulf Coast University is poised to be the largest since the pandemic started. You know that today's Wednesday?
Did they post it yesterday?
No, they posted it 50 seconds ago and then reposted it 30 seconds ago and made the same mistake twice.
And
I really want, you know what? It's
Who do you
Wink
think's
News. I'm going to
working on
respond. I don't know.
yeah. Johnny, I thought it was a hockey play, and so did Mark. But, tough break. They had 49 additional minutes to score a goal. Actually, Hulskate was in the crease. Now, don't get me wrong. He didn't influence the goal, but they called that all year that year. Didn't matter if you affected the play or not.
Mike Masala is on hold. And we're coming back now.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. David Dwork, who covers the Panthers. He'll join us coming up top of the hour. Our buddy Seth Everett. He'll join us 1 hour from now. It's a pleasure. Welcome back to the show. Mike Masala covers the Dolphins for the Dolphins Wire, which is part of the USA Today umbrella. Follow Mike on Twitter, Mike_Masala,  Mike, thanks for doing this, particularly at this hour. It's David and Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. How are we doing this morning?
Well, we're doing well. We just wanted to take a little inventory. Free agency, comings and goings, the draft, even though it was only 4 picks. How much better, in your estimation, are the Dolphins now than they were when the season ended? New coach, the whole deal.
So I think the coach part is interesting. Obviously, Flores was a bit of a polarizing figure for a lot of people. But I think they've done a pretty solid job getting in a solid offensive staff. Obviously, you still have Josh Boyer in there in the defensive room. So you kind of pick who you're going to believe on who was running that defense towards the end of the year. Some people say it was Flores. Some people, including the players, say it was Boyer. So the coaching staff, I think, is solid. I think you're in a good spot there. You might not have the experience that a guy like Flores had in the first few seasons, but you surrounded yourself with veteran offensive assistant coaches, and I think you have a good young mind in McDaniel. As far as the roster goes, I think they're in a much better spot than they were last year. Obviously, adding Tyreek Hill and Teron Armstead, the 2 biggest names, Connor Williams on the offensive line as well. You kind of just have 2 question marks still on the offensive line. Center position, Michael Dieter's still there. And then right tackle is kind of going to be a competition. It seems like it's going to be between Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg. Other than that, I think a lot of the moves, the Raheem Mostert, the Chase Edmonds, I think a lot of these moves are really solid moves. The defense, you're bringing back most of the same players. You're losing like a couple role players here and there, but I think they're in a really solid position going into 2022.
Any of the draft picks, in your estimation, crack the starting lineup?
At this point, I don't think so. Tyndall would have to show a pretty big leap right at the beginning. He was playing on a stacked Georgia defense, obviously behind Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean, who were going into the draft supposed to be first-round picks. We saw what happened with Nakobe Dean kind of falling down there to the 4th round, which was a huge surprise for everybody, I think, including himself. But I do think he has the potential to be a solid role player here, and then eventually, maybe by the end of the year or the start of next year, start taking some of those starter reps from a guy like Elandon Roberts. They signed all their linebackers back on essentially 1-year deals. So this is going to be kind of a learning season for a lot of these players, and pick and choose what you go forward with heading into the following year. But I think right now, Tyndall would be the closest guy, but I don't think it's going to happen at the start of the year.
Do the Dolphins have any money at all to sign, say, a J.C. Treader and upgrade at center? I mean, Mike, he's only 31. In the last 5 years, he's missed 1 game. He's certainly better than what they have at center. Can they pull what the Saints did yesterday and sign a Tyrann Mathieu, or no?
Right now, as of some of the cap calculating websites, the Dolphins have around $20 million in space, and that's from over the cap, which is the source that I trust to use. There's obviously other sources out there that you can look at, but I believe they're all around that same number. The Dolphins could bring in J.C. Treader. I know that they'd like to go into the season with some cap space just in case they have to sign guys mid-season. We saw them at the end of last year kind of struggle to make some moves to bring in some of the running backs at the end of the year. So they had to make some cap manipulations there. And there's obviously moves that they can make to still free up some cap space. There's extensions they could make. You could give Mike Gesicki a long-term contract that cuts down his franchise tag number. There are moves that they can make to create even more cap space. I think right now what they're telling us is they're fairly confident in Michael Dieter, especially with the offensive line coach coming in from Boston College. I think with an experienced offensive line coach, a new system, I think that they believe he can provide them with at least enough to get them through the season. I don't know if he's going to be a great center, but he's at least competent, and that's what you really need right now. I'm a little surprised that they didn't go after a center in the draft. You started to see some of those guys go pretty early. Cole Strange, obviously, in the first round. That was pretty crazy from New England. But the top 4 or 5 guys were pretty much all gone by the time the Dolphins got their first pick. But they didn't grab anybody through the rest of the draft. Donovan West, who was the guy from Arizona State, who we thought was probably going to go in around that 4-round range, right where the Dolphins were selecting, he went undrafted. They didn't get him. There was a center from Boston College, obviously connection to your offensive line coach. They didn't get him. So what that's telling me is that they feel confident enough in Michael Dieter hold down that spot, at least for right now.
Yeah, when they don't take the BC kid, that basically says that the coach doesn't think he can play, in my estimation. But you mentioned earlier that Flores was polarizing. He may have been, but he could coach the hell out of that defense. What are your thoughts about where the defense goes this year? Because of all the coaching change issues, the defense to me is my biggest concern. What are your concerns with the defense?
Yeah, that's the coaching is the biggest concern there. Obviously, having Flores as a guy who's been as experienced as him, being in New England for all those years, learning under Coach Belichick, who's really considered one of the best defensive masterminds in the history of the game. Losing him is going to be, I think, a big loss. I do think Boyer makes up for some of that, and obviously you have the talent there. So I'm not sure it's going to be like a huge drop-off, but I don't expect them to be exactly at the same level that they were last year. Again, you returned a lot of the players that you were potentially missing. Xavier Howard's contract going into the offseason was a question mark. You brought back Emmanuel Ogbah, all of your linebackers. You brought in Tyndall and Cameron Good to maybe play some roles in some of the smaller roles on this defense. So returning all those players, a great thing. Returning Josh Boyer, good for consistency, but I do think they're going to be missing quite a bit of leadership and just overall football knowledge, not having Flores there.
Talking Dolphins with Mike Masala. He covers them for the Dolphins Wire. The Dolphins Wire, that's part of the USA Today network. Follow Mike on Twitter, Mike_Masala, Masala. Mike Masala joining us here on Miller and Moulton. All right. Tua, the offense, and that's what's held them back last couple of years. Why? And have you heard anything in which you went, that's a lot different than the last 2 years?
Specifically hearing things, I don't think anything's been put out there just yet. You've heard a lot from his footwork coach, who's been saying how different he looks. He's put out a couple clips of just the growth there from that perspective. And I think just from the organization as a whole, publicly, they've really supported Tua Tagovailoa, which is something we haven't heard in the last few seasons. It's kind of been rumblings here and there of they weren't exactly happy with the quarterback situation. Just talking about Deshaun Watson coming in or Tom Brady coming in. There's been those rumors in the recent year. I think just the backing up of him, obviously providing with weapons, they're going in to see, can this guy who was picked early in the first round, can he live up to that level? And right now, I know the whole no excuses thing seems a little bit overused, but when you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, you have two of the fastest running backs in the league and Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert. You have an offensive line that is much improved. You went out and got the top tackle on the board. You got one of the top left guards on the board. You have a lot around you, and you have an offensive-minded coach who's supposed to be instilling all this confidence in him. This should be a year where you find out what you have in Tua, and that's the most important thing going forward right now.
Finally, this coach seems like a different guy. He almost seems like somebody who you want to pal around with and go on tour and see either the Dead or Jimmy Buffett. I mean, he does seem a little different.
No, he is. He definitely is a completely different personality from Brian Flores. I've watched all of his interviews with Pat McAfee and all the different outlets he's speaking on, and he's got that like dry sense of humor, but it's also just he's just different. He's funny. He's relatable. All the players seem to like him. He's got that awkward bit of humor with him. When Flores was here, yes, you had a guy who some players related to, but a lot of guys looked at him as he's going to be the bad guy for you. He's going to be harsh and stern, but you got a good coach out of that. So I don't know if we are 100% transferring that to Mike McDaniel yet. Are we sure he's a good coach? We're not sure, but at least he's a guy who it seems like everybody likes, and nobody has said a bad thing about him. Every single player who's had an interaction with him has said, like, I like this guy. This is the guy who I want to spend time with. Tua's mentioned that he's been kind of bummed that Tua hasn't invited him to hang out a couple times. It is a completely different relationship than what you had with Flores the year before.
Well, it's nice when you're undefeated in May. Hope springs
Right.
eternal. Let's hope it continues. Mike, thanks for making time for us, particularly at this hour. We really appreciate it.
No problem, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Mike Masala covers the Dolphins for the Dolphins Wire. Follow him on Twitter, Mike_Masala, Masala. You and I are still in on Tua.
Yes, but I'm totally with what Mike said. Obviously, now they went and addressed the offensive line. He has more weapons than he's ever had. He has a running back. Everything's there. David, it's all right there.
It's just like NASCAR math.
The
Mark.
72, the 10,
Right.
the 88, they're all right there.
Yep. You add it all up, and it's Harry Gant. Right, I get it.
Dolphin here also in on Tua, although he's not Justin Herbert.
No, probably not. First off, physically, he's not Justin Herbert. And he was going to be a different quarterback anyway. I mean, you could show by how they in their college careers. Herbert, bigger, stronger. All right. Tua, very accurate. He's still very accurate.
Yes. And I think this year we'll find out how well he throws the deep ball, which he's been knocked for at the pro level, which he threw terrifically in the college level.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, remember his most famous pass of his career is to Devontae Smith to win a national championship. What was it? It was a bomb.
That hit him in stride.
Yeah. And it was a quick read, too, in the shotgun, a couple steps, settle, look off the safety one way, and then just pivot and let it rip and hit him in stride. So, but yes, if you need the 60-yard throw, you grab Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow.
And those 4 times a season when you got to throw one into the end zone at the end of the half or at the end of the game for a Hail Mary, you've got the right guy. There's not a lot of 60-yard balls that are thrown in the National Football League.
On paper, they look like they can compete. I don't mean with the Bills.
No, but
for the playoffs.
But they look like they should be in that next group of teams, that second tier of AFC teams.
The first thing they have to do is they have to finish second in the division. And even though they swept the Patriots last year, they did not finish second in the division.
Which is a break for this year because they'll play 2 third-place or 3 third-place teams as opposed to 3 second-place teams.
I wish they'd upgrade still a spot at least on the offensive line. I don't like having 2 question marks on the offensive line going into a season in which you're expecting to be a playoff team. Because then what if somebody gets hurt? Now you have 3 question marks on the line. Also, Armstead has knee issues. Now, I mean, if he's healthy, he's a huge upgrade.
But you can't go, obviously, David, you can't go into the season expecting him to get hurt. You signed him expecting him to be healthy. And if he gets hurt, that injuries are part of it. So I can't look at that as one of the problems there.
New offensive line coach, they've invested a lot. I mean, it's not like they haven't spent draft capital on the offensive line. I mean, he's got 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round picks who have underachieved there.
All over the place.
So they remind you a lot of the Falcons. The Falcons' offensive line can be criticized. Well, it's not like the organization hasn't tried. They just picked the wrong guys, apparently. And based on how they've performed the last couple of years, that's what you have to conclude about Chris Greer. Yeah, I know you've spent a lot of time and resources and all that on the line. Dude, it hasn't worked.
Went back-to-back in 20, second rounder in 21.
I think they also have a 3rd rounder, on the line.
Well, Dieter's the 3rd rounder from 19. Yeah. So, yeah, another 4th rounder from the 20 draft that's a backup in Kindley. So you're right, David. They've invested a lot in the line.
I mean, that's 2 1s, a 2, a 3, and a 4, and now they signed Armstead.
And Williams.
Come on now. That's 7 guys. Hopefully 5 of them can play. It'd be nice. Miller and Moulton. All right. So how do we think David Dwork's going to be? Down in the dumps?
Down in the dumps.
You don't think he can shake it off?
He'll fake it, but I still think he's going to be a wounded man. He's next on Miller and Moulton.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, Only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Chaz, it's funny watching all the playoff hockey is my annual reminder. I do miss the Wings, but I don't miss them this time of year. I miss the Wings being good during the regular season when I want to watch games. And Yinzer, first off, I thought the review took a while, quite a while.
Yeah, it took like over 3 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah. And if anything, I'm going to root for the Penguins over the Rangers because it makes my wife happy.
Right.
And I thought the call was right. I thought that's the call they were going to make. I said it out loud several times. But it was a very close call. I do not think by any means the Ranger bowled over the goaltender. I think if the Penguins player doesn't knock the goaltender in the next week, they might not call goaltender interference.
I don't think they would have. First off, because I think the goalie would have still been in the crease. I don't have a problem with the call. It's not a sour grapes thing at all. I thought it was a 50-50, 60-40 call. You know, even the Rangers coach afterwards, he said, hey, that was 50-50. I looked up at the Jumbotron. He goes, I thought it was close. You know, and the Rangers players also, I read some quotes. They're like, it's tough, you know, hockey play. Don't know what he's supposed to do, but hey, we had our chances. I mean, they played 49 additional minutes after that.
Did you read the Athletic story about the Larry Bird?
Yeah. That's been out there like 3 weeks.
Oh, has it?
They just keeps like showing
it
up.
showed up on my Twitter
Yeah.
feed, so I
Yeah.
clicked over. Felipe, when you watch plays, if this comes on again, watch play 4. Look at that guy's mustache, the pitcher. That's what you want your mustache to be. If you could aspire to be that mustache, you've got a good mustache. By the time you're 30, I think you could
I
have
just
that.
saw it. That's Ryan from the pitcher from the Twins, right?
Yeah, I think you could have that by 30.
Nothing in my 20s.
I said by 30. I mean, start at the last couple months of your 29th year. It should be there by your 30th birthday. Do you have anything here? You can't. There's nothing there, is there?
No, I shaved it off.
Yeah, but there's nothing there. That doesn't grow. That's because you're pretty baby face
My
everywhere
problem
else.
is
You're a baby face.
it grows everywhere except right here.
Yeah, I had a little of that too in my day. I did see. Felipe, I have to bring. I in my drawer because someone gave back to me the headshots from the Florida Everblades program.
Oh gosh.
Full goatee. I was like 29.
Sure.
No,
Well, you got here, what, late 98?
98. Yeah,
Almost 24 years ago.
yeah.
You'll be 53.
Yeah, I was
in August,
28 when
right?
I got here. That's right.
You were probably just about to turn 29, right? When did you get
Mom-
here in 98?
First of the year.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you had
Literally, the second of we moved here. We went to the Georgia, Wisconsin Outback Bowl. We stayed at Kessel's house and had all our shit.
So you did the January 1st.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Show is flying by. Just like playoff overtime, Mark, right? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Our poll question is hockey related, so we know it's going to get 43 votes, but that's okay. We're willing to take the heat. Both Florida teams are down 1-0. Which one is in more trouble? I voted Lightning. Mark voted Panthers. Go to FL Sports Network, at that Mark Miller, at the David Moulton on Twitter, or floridasportsnetwork.com and vote. Speaking of the Panthers, David Dwork covers them. Channel 10 in Miami, also hosts Chirping the Cats. It's a Florida Panthers podcast. You can follow David on Twitter at David Dwork, DWORK. David, it's David and Mark. How you holding up this morning?
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm a little tired, otherwise holding up okay.
All right. The Panthers had not 39-0-1 when taking a lead into the third period. It's now 39-1-1, but that one's the most important. Why, in your estimation, did finally Washington do something that really only one other team could do all year long, and that's take a lead away from the Panthers in the third?
Well, they did a great job of mucking things up in the third period. The Panthers, I mean, they've been a team all year that kind of comes at you in waves, especially at home. But the Capitals did a good job of limiting Florida's opportunities on the rush. I thought that for a good part of the second half of that game, it was the pace was controlled by the Panthers as best they could, because the game just overall was a very slow, grindy game, which you wouldn't expect from the Panthers, especially on home ice. So it'll be interesting to see if they can overcome that in game two. The execution was definitely off. The Panthers got plenty of chances. They got plenty of looks, in high danger areas. They didn't necessarily challenge Vitek Vanacek, the Capitals goalie, that well. I thought they hit him with a lot of pucks more than he made a lot of big saves. So there's definitely some room for improvement, but it was an uncharacteristic home loss for the Panthers, no doubt. And I guess now that it's the playoffs, it's not 39-1-1. It's just 0-1 and 0-1-0 at this point, right? They're just 0-1 when winning after two periods. So a lot to build on for a President's Trophy winning team.
All right. How did they handle it? Because for as much as this group wants to be this group, you and a lot of others know what the Panthers' playoff history is. Haven't won a series in over 25 years. They've never won a series when they've lost game one. They were the best team in the regular season. They never lost when leading in the third period, etc. So how did this group handle losing 4-2?
I mean, they appeared to handle it just fine and take everything in stride. Like, they said all the right things after the game that, there's no panic in the locker room. We're very positive. It's just one game. But we're not really going to know for sure how they respond until tomorrow night when they go out for game two. If they go out there and do gangbusters the way they have all year and they put up another 4 or 5 goals and they get back on track, then it's like, yeah, okay, it was just one game. But if we go on game two and we see another game where they've got, 20 shots through 2 periods, which is very uncharacteristic of any Panthers team this year, there'll be a little bit of a cause for concern. So for the time being, they're doing everything. They're saying everything right. We'll be at practice in a few hours at the rink. And I'm sure, be high-spirited, probably a little bit more focused and maybe a little bit less fun, just, obviously because of what happened. But yeah, I mean, we're really going to find out on Thursday night, like just how this team responds.
It was a game, and I know the shots weren't there. It seemed that for large portions, however, Florida controlled the puck. They do what they always do. They had a lot of puck possession. What was it about Washington's defense that didn't allow them to get to the net the way they normally do?
I don't even know if it was about Washington's defense because, like, as you said, they were generating opportunities. They had the puck possession for maybe not as much as normal, but they certainly did generate a lot of chances. I think that the execution below the circles was a little off. There was plenty of times where they'd have the puck right around the goal crease, but couldn't quite get the shot off, couldn't quite make a play. There was a couple of times where they were trying to make some fancy passes, cross slot passes. It just, didn't click for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't think that had a lot to do with the Washington Capitals, what they were doing down low. I think it was just maybe the Panthers collectively were gripping their sticks a little too tight, or, just sometimes the puck luck doesn't go your way. That's why I'm just very anxious to see how game plays out. But, for a team that was so good all season in the offensive zone that, really dominated puck possession a lot of the time, it was a little unexpected to see them struggle the way they did.
Talking Florida Panthers with David Dwork, Channel 10 in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and he hosts Chirping the Cats. It's a Florida Panthers podcast. Follow David on Twitter, David Dwork, Dwork. All right, coming in, big question, Bob, would he be good enough? Sergei Bobrovsky, for those of you that don't know, he's the Panthers' number 1. They spent big bucks, 3 years ago now, to bring him in. I thought he was fine. The first goal, but I thought he was making big saves on, high caliber scoring chances throughout the second period and into the early third, and then a breakaway and a 2-on-1, and he doesn't stop either. But I thought, David, if Bob plays like this the rest of the series, I think the team would take it. Yes? No?
I completely agree with you. I think Bob was excellent in game one. Based on, like, as you said, he's been here for 3 years now. We're probably seeing the best out of him over the last month or so than we've seen in those 3 years. And with Sergei Bobrovsky, you're going to get rebounds. His rebound control is not a good part of his game. We've known that for a long time now. Columbus was really good about cleaning up things in front of Sergei Bobrovsky, and that's why he did really well in Columbus. Last night, I thought the Panthers did a really good job of clearing out rebounds. Obviously, the first goal by Tom Wilson was a power play goal, so there's a bit more space, and it was, another rebound that just popped right out, and he put it right back behind Bob. But when Bob's making a lot more of the high danger saves, which he has been over the last 4 to 6 weeks, it kind of mitigates the bad rebounds or the little cheap ones that'll sneak through. It's because he's kind of making up for it on the back end with a lot more big athletic saves. If he plays the way he plays in game one for the tenure Florida is in the playoffs, however long they're going to be there, I think they're going to be in good shape. I think not worrying about goaltending is a big key, especially after last year's series against Tampa, where they played 3 goalies in 6 games. But that is one thing that coming out of game one, I had a big smile on my face about, and that was the effort of Sergei Bobrovsky. I thought it was playoff Bob. I thought it was the guy who was earning that contract that he signed, the $10 million per year contract. So hopefully that is something that the Panthers get moving forward. And I think they will, just based on the fact that he's been playing quite well over the last, like I said, about 6 weeks. The only time he struggled were the 2 games that he came in after, he got hit. hit in the face with a puck in Los Angeles when he was on the bench, and he didn't start that whole road trip. He was under the weather. He came back and he had the 2 bad starts against Jersey and Toronto. 2 games with the Panthers ended up making these ridiculous comebacks and winning anyway. But aside from those 2 starts, Bob's been probably the best that I've seen of him in his 3 years with the Panthers. And if that continues in the playoffs, then Panthers will probably be okay.
Do you think they respond?
Yes. I think this team is, they've got so much veteran leadership in the locker room. There really does not appear to be any panic yet. I mean, when, things, the nitty gritty gets really crazy if they go behind 2 games, and we'll see different characteristics than we've seen a lot of this season. You would think you go into a little bit of a panic mode, but I mean, when you got Patrick Hornquist and Radko Gudas, you've got guys that have been there before. You got Claude Giroux, you got Joe Thornton, Carter Verhaeghe's been, won a Stanley Cup. Noah Chari's won a Stanley Cup. There's enough veterans in there that everything should stay pretty chill, and they can, also kind of hang their hat on the, whatever, it's 58 games or whatever that they won during the regular season. It's definitely not time to panic, and this team is so good that they shouldn't be. But again, if tomorrow night does not go their way, I don't want to say all bets are off, but it'll be interesting to see the situation behind the scenes after game 2.
Oh, no, I think all bets would be off. David, thanks for your time and your insight. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, fellas. Take care.
David Dwork, Channel 10, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Also hosts Chirping the Cats, a Florida Panthers podcast. Follow him on Twitter, David Dwork, DWORK. It's ironic. I mean, you and I both thought that Bob, give him a B. And Giroux scores a goal for him, too.
Which he's not really done since coming over.
And yet they lose.
Right.
And at a lead going to the third.
Mm-hmm.
So the goalie plays pretty well.
Pretty well.
Giroux scores, and they have a lead going to the third. But they lost.
Maybe they need to be down 2-3-1 going to the third. They're awfully good when they're down a couple of goals going into the third period.
Nobody's been better trailing going into the third period than the Florida Panthers. That's for sure. So both the Lightning and the Panthers lost game 1, Tampa on the road, Florida at home. Lightning try to even things up in Toronto tonight. Got a few Lightning fans text in. Twitch chat room. What do they need to do tonight? You and I both said the same thing. Show up. They were terrible in game 1. Lousy. Played it like it was a Tuesday night in Ottawa. They were awful.
They were awful. They're playing the better team. And the Panthers played pretty well last night, but come up short. It is our poll question today. Both down 0-1. Which team's in bigger trouble? I voted Panthers. David voted Lightning. The audience, right now, 2/3 saying Panthers.
Still have faith in the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Lightning. I just think Lightning are playing the better team. That's why they're in more trouble. Canada Relief says that the Lightning should decline the Leafs penalties. Man, their power play was lousy in game 1. Gave up a shorty also.
By the way, just a little football tease for you.
Uh-huh.
Armando Sagaro from the Miami tweeting out that the Munich game date has been set. The Tampa Bay Seattle game will be played 9:30 on November the 13th. Every once in a while, if I can just throw a football nugget at somebody.
Schedule released a week from tomorrow night.
Right. Leaks already starting to happen.
Well, and they did say that they're going to have strategic leaks.
And so looks as if the Munich game is one of them, November 13th, 9:30 a.m., streaming in a market near you.
I think that game will go over very well. Because they've never been in Germany, I don't believe.
I think it'll be a lot like the early London games, that it will be mostly Americans that are living in Germany dying to see American football.
And think about it. They thought they were going to get to see Russell Wilson and Tom Brady had retired. Instead, they get to see Tom Brady and Russell Wilson's with Denver. Denver at Seattle this year. Don't know the date, but Russ goes back to the Pacific Northwest this year.
Sounds like a Monday Night Football game to me.
You know, it really does.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No, Hops, we had Mike Kelly on yesterday, and his comment was, he was talking about teams getting set up on the power play, entering the zone, and that the league average is 70%. And he goes, well, you would think when you got one extra skater, you should be able to get into the zone and set up 70% of the time. And the Lightning in game one did it less than 30% of the time. That's how bad they were. And KW, I said iffy, and Mark said it earlier too, because the rebound was just so juicy. It's like, come on, you can't give up a rebound. Even on the power play, you can't give up a rebound like that. Gronk and Edelman partied in Vegas during the draft. So that's why Gronk has the quote, oh, if Julian comes back, then I'll definitely sign up.
Yeah,
for
they had the
another
beach
year.
party, the Vegas beach party.
Right. RCB, Toronto controlled everything.
Oh, so they're going to release, there must be releasing all of them, because someone just said, how about Mexico City? And Kay Adams tweeted next 5 minutes ago. So they must be announcing the international games today.
Kay Adams leaving. She's going to do the Thursday night Amazon thing and wants to live in LA.
Well, I do mornings, so I don't care. When I wasn't doing my little break, I liked watching that show, so it doesn't matter to me. That show can go down the tubes. Everything that's done in the morning, as far as I'm concerned, can go down the tubes.
Right. Except Miller and Moulton.
Right.
We need that one to do well.
That's the only one I care about.
Right.
Hey, did you all smash that follow button if you haven't already? I see some new names in Twitch chat today. Thank you very much.
Don't just tap it, smash it. Pop it, twist it.
Hey, I'm talking the way you kids do. That's what they say on TikTok. Smash that follow button. Don't act like I'm not paying attention to what the kids are talking about. Do all your dancing you want over there.
Yeah, like and subscribe to my channel. Moulton. I really hope that Broncos Seahawks game is a Monday night game. That would be great.
Well, they're hard-hitting question there. Are the Bucs the best team in the NFC South? Are the Bills the best team in the AFC North, AFC East?
Are the Packers the best team in the NFC North?
Now, if you want to put, are the Chiefs the best team in the AFC West?
Good question.
That's a good question.
Are the Cowboys the best team in the
That's
NFC
another
East?
good question.
Because the Eagles now
Right.
look formidable.
Are the Titans the best team in the AFC South? All legitimate football questions, David.
Who's the best team in the AFC North?
Who's the worst team in the AFC North?
That's tough. Probably the Steelers.
What? What'd you say?
Probably wait, no. The Steelers are in the AFC North, right?
No. Since
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steelers are in the AFC North.
Yeah.
I'd say probably the Steelers.
the worst team,
Guillermo, the Dolphins are still mediocre until proven otherwise. Unless you consider above average better than mediocre. Like they have won 10-9 games the last 2 years and missed the playoffs both times.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Our buddy Seth Everett will join us a little more than 15 minutes on the show, but a little more than 10 minutes on Twitch. And, well,
it is one of his holidays.
right.
After all, it is May the 4th.
May the force be with you. That's what I did there. You had a scheduling tidbit before we went to break. There are more tidbits.
More tidbits?
There are more tidbits. So
I love a good tidbit.
what's better, a nook and cranny or a tidbit?
A nook and a cranny. Because that gives a slight hint towards an English muffin. I did figure out, by the way, David, for those that have been listening for a while, I did look up a pumpernickel bread recipe. So it's coming.
Okay.
Very easy.
I need that, Mark. I've never tried that.
Never had pumpernickel?
No. I also still haven't done the fork trick with the English muffin.
I haven't either.
I'm folding.
And I don't know when I will. Like, I don't know if I'm going to
Will
be.
you buy an English muffin? Like, if you buy an English muffin, if you're on the road at one of the hotels you stay at, and you walk down to and it would be a Saturday hotel, not a Monday hotel. Well, I don't know. Now that you're with ESPN, I don't know what the accommodations are. Fox, you were Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons. They spared no expense with where they put you. A lot of inn suites with the SEC.
Right. Well, a lot of towns that end in Ville.
Right. So when you're in one of those villas and you get up in the morning, they've got that complimentary breakfast. You may score an English muffin. Now, I don't know if it can be done with the plastic fork, and I'm waiting for your report on a Saturday in September.
Fayetteville, Gainesville, Starkville, College Station. Oh, yeah. A lot of fork potentials with the English muffin.
Just don't go back to Rockville.
So you would let everybody know that
the Munich game
is Seattle and Tampa.
November the 13th, 9:30 a.m. Eastern.
First ever game in Germany. They get Tom Brady.
Good get.
Yeah, really is. So the two London games, early October, Vikings Saints. The following week, Giants Packers.
In London?
Yeah. Yeah, Green Bay couldn't avoid it. They're on the list. Hey, Giants are going to be hard knocks here pretty soon too. They've called in every chip, and they're going to be hard knocks here soon unless they start winning. Tell you that. So those are the 3 games, and Arizona is one of the 2 opponents for the Mexico City game. Apparently coming up even before the show is done, we're going to know who Arizona is playing in Mexico City.
So this was the calculated leak. They're going to get out all of the international games, which was a huge part of the draft coverage.
Yeah. I mean, all around the world.
If you don't think there's a game coming to Rio soon, you didn't watch the NFL draft.
That was quite the visual.
It was beautiful.
It was. The fog, but the cross kind of being seen through the fog. Huge. I mean, they got it pretty close to that thing. So, and the third London game, by the way, because 2 of the games will be at Tottenham Hotspur. I just like doing that.
I know. I leave it alone.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me that little joy in my life. Please, Mark, I got all into the Chelsea-Everton match Sunday morning. It's the first time I took in a Premier League pre-game, game, or match, and post. 3-hour treatment. It was glorious. Just glorious. I was in the house alone by myself. I walked around doing Ian Dark for 3 hours.
Did you ever turn the volume down of the Premier League match so you were solo, or did you need that little bit of English accent in the background to help push you over the cliff?
I started with the volume on so that I could find my voice, but I had the closed captioning on, so I would then, about midway through.
Because glorious is a great word to do in an English accent. Magnificent, better. But well done.
I prefer my football in Espanol.
Okay.
Well, you should.
Fair enough.
It's amazing.
It's the native tongue.
It's amazing.
Fair enough.
The other day I discovered that I could switch my NBA broadcast to Spanish, and we watched the Suns Mavericks game in Espanol. Jake Crowder.
How is your Spanish?
Devin Booker.
Yeah, I got you. How is your Spanish? Is there any?
Subpar.
Is there any?
It's subpar. I'm the worst Spanish speaker in my family. I'm the runt.
Does your brother speak
Bottom of the
Spanish?
barrel. Yes, my brother's girlfriend is from Argentina, actually. So
he speaks Spanish. So he
yes.
does. So this is, back to graduation this weekend with the grandparents coming in town and everything, who obviously the grandparents are fluent.
Oh, yes.
Is your older brother the favorite?
When it comes to Spanish, yeah.
Well, I mean,
they love me, though. They love me. They love them some Felipe.
Listen to him.
Listen to T.O. over there.
T.O.
He went T.O. about the grandparents.
Love me some Felipe. In other words, the baby. They love the baby of the family. So, all right.
Grandma probably even would accept that mustache, wouldn't she?
We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see.
Probably not. By the way, they announced one other game over at Wembley because, of course, I mean, the Jags haven't been brought up, and the Jags always play a London game. And they're playing Russell Wilson and the Broncos. So you're going to get Brady, Rodgers, and Russell Wilson across the pond this year.
Those are good gets.
Yeah. And Kyler Murray's playing somebody in Mexico City. We'll find out in a little bit. So there you have it. But getting back to channeling my Ian Dark and other, I mean, it was, you know how it is, just how descriptive they are, just how so over the top that this is just a half a notch below a religious experience are these matches. Oh, it's a majestic scene. The bravery. I just love how descriptive they are. How Everton, one of the worst teams facing relegation, taking on Chelsea and the 41,000 in attendance who can't bear their team falling by the wayside. inspiring them on to victory. He'll remember that goal for the rest of his life. Frank Lampard.
You just, at this point, Felipe, you just let him go. He doesn't need us anymore. You and I could continue on with an entire conversation for the rest of this segment.
Yeah.
And he would just jump in at any point that he wanted to.
I don't know how you listen to a first half and don't then want to perform it in the second half. I mean, honestly, it's like I was doing my own one-man play.
He's
in
right.
The second
though.
half.
He's right, because every time I play FIFA, the video game, what's a ball by Rooney? Mohamed Salah.
We really got to work it. Stick to the Espanol. We got to work on that British accent. Way too fast.
Frank Lampard, the Chelsea legend,
Sadio Mane.
having led them to so many triumphs over the years, and now he must take them down. So his club, who has never been relegated, will not have that fate.
Well, the relegation in and of itself leads to...
I love it. We don't have it.
No, we don't.
We wouldn't put up with it. The owners in this country would never put up with the fact that their team could lose billions of dollars overnight in value. So we'll never see it.
Ever. Not to mention, some owners might actually have to care whether their team wins or loses.
Right. Might have to buy players.
Could you imagine if the Guardians and all these baseball teams that aren't spending a dime had the thought of getting relegated so that the Nashville Sounds jump into the league?
Picard was truly heroic in the nets. Seth Everett, top that. Next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Oh! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Seth.
Hi, guys.
Seth.
What's up, man?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay.
Seth,
Plugging along.
Seth, these boys the other day were trying to tell me that Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 1, was not iconic.
Oh, well,
I don't know if we were trying to tell you that. I thought you just had a question.
No, I
you said it's iconic, and I said it's a comic book movie. I don't consider comic book movies iconic.
But it was one of the first of its kind.
Okay.
It was a good movie.
Touch on Dusty.
Yes.
And all the vaccinated Yankees.
Yeah, You got to remember that's not a story here.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And today's May the 4th.
I know it's one of Seth's. That's what I said earlier. It's one of Seth's holidays.
Seth, you're a Star Wars fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seth, who's your favorite Star Wars character of all time?
I don't know.
Have you done, Seth? Would you do the Disney thing to see all that Star Wars stuff? Would that interest you?
No.
I went with my brother and sister-in-law a couple weeks ago. So it was his 50th, and she surprised him why, as adults, we went to Disney is beyond me, but had to spend all the money that we spent to go to Disney as adults is more beyond me. Yeah. But whatever, the Rise of the Resistance ride, when you come out, they check you through and everybody's dressed up. When you walk out into the main room and there's like 50, 80 Star Troopers there, the visual was, and I'm not a Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
The visual was really cool. And they're all robots and they're all moving, slightly moving. That was cool, but I just was curious.
No, it's cool. None of those things, I'm not a big amusement park. Like, I need to see anything. I've been to Disney dozens of times, from the good old days, but I don't know. I've seen the lines are crazy. You got to make reservations. You got to do a whole thing. No. I like the movies. I like the shows. I like to watch the stuff. But
no, I was curious because I was there and thought of you a couple of times. Not just because I know you dig that. So some of the one when
I think of you often too.
First a-hole moment of the show today came from Seth Everett at 8:35 Eastern.
Mark it. Time code.
What? The Pellegrino sparkling waters there. Orange?
New can, yeah.
Tangerine or something, probably.
It's really good. It's a new can, though.
When they're on sale, I get those for my wife at Costco. If not, she just gets the plain old LaCroix.
I understand. I like Costco.
I love Costco.
I have fun in Costco.
I'm right there with you. Under 3,000 Canada Relief, 28 and change, I believe.
Did you guys see any of the Penguins Rangers?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
David saw 6
You watched
periods.
the whole thing?
Yeah.
Are you tired? You do a morning show.
It's our rule, Seth.
Yeah, we'll do this on
We'll
air.
do this. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. It was fun. Luis Domingue.
Yeah, awesome.
We played
story.
the clip that they
Former
had
Devils great.
The spicy pork and broccoli is just outstanding. Did you see that?
No.
So they interview him after the game.
Oh no! Once the game ended,
I know. I saw it this morning. Well, I didn't see. I went to bed when overtime started. But so they interview him after the game, and he says, the French. I did not think I was coming in. I had a meal between the first and second overtime. She's like, and the girl, I give her credit because she's a little taste. She's, well, what did you have? It was a spicy pork and broccoli.
That's awesome.
And he goes in and makes 17 saves.
That's awesome. Yeah, what a moment, huh? In overtime?
Yeah, it's tremendous.
It's crazy.
For the record, Canada Relief, the over-under on the Rays-A's game we set at 3,000, and it was officially an under. It was 28-15. That's up 327 from Monday night.
10 seconds.
When it was 24-88.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. And since it's a hump day, that means it's time for Seth Everett. Longtime friend of the show and friend with the both of us. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice Tech Stream. His 3 great podcasts, all very different from one another. He's a very versatile and talented guy, and we're very grateful that he took a liking to us 15 plus years ago. You can follow Seth on Twitter at Seth_Everett. How the heck are you?
Good morning, gents. May the 4th be with you.
And with you also. Oh, Didn't know that's how I was supposed to answer that. Your mic was cut off a little bit at the beginning, so I took a guess at what you said there.
Oh, may the be with you.
That's about what it sounded like.
Gotcha.
The late great Daryl Hamilton used to have a line that used to cut out like that, and this was in the heat of the steroid hearings. And every time he would come back, the host, meaning me, I would hear a click, but the audience wouldn't hear it. So I knew when he was coming. And as soon as I heard the click, I would know to stop talking, and he would go, and those are the guys I know did steroids, and I'm not telling you again.
Well, Seth, last night we were talking about earlier in our starting five, Dusty Baker gets 2,000. I know you've known Dusty for a lot of years. David and I both contend he should be a Hall of Famer. I'll start with that. Do you?
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was great moment. I thought amazing how many former players. Well, I guess the two things I learned is how many former players that I follow on social media and how many of them took to social media to congratulate him. He is a guy that players would take a bullet for. I mean, I know that's a cliche, but that's what it feels like. And I remember, Daryl Hamilton played for Dusty with the San Francisco Giants in the early 2000s, and that's how I got to know Dusty. But when I met him, what I was amazed by was how many players swore by him. And I've told the story years ago. I mean, now we're talking probably 5-6 years ago when Dusty got the Nationals job. Bryce Harper came on Sports with Friends. And when he found out he found out from the PR person that I knew Dusty, he asked to pause the podcast and he wanted to know about him. What was the selling point of Dusty Baker? And it was a fascinating conversation because Bryce Harper and I bonded over that moment. And I've said it before, Dusty gave the eulogy at Daryl's memorial. And I'll never forget him for that. And for that, I'll always be bonded with him. I'm a massive Dusty Baker fan.
Well, he's done a great job with the Astros. He
really has.
He's done a terrific job
everywhere he goes.
I mean, he took the Giants to within 10 outs of winning a World Series.
Cubs, yep.
He won a division title with the Reds.
Yeah.
I took the Reds to the playoffs even. I mean, he's gone to back-to-back LCSs now with the Astros. Remember, he took over the Astros. They were a punchline. They were a joke. And it was like, oh, man, who could handle this job? And people said, well, if anybody could, it's Dusty Baker. And now, things have been calm. They went through it. They took their grief. They kept on playing. They keep losing guys. They still keep winning.
Well, and I talked to Dusty when he took the Astros job, and he just said he was going to restore dignity to the team. That's all he wanted to do. That was his only goal, was to just get some dignity back there.
Seth, you mentioned that guys would take a bullet for him, and we all get the cliche. But I want to know from the players that you've spoken to, from the locker rooms, clubhouses that you've been around when he was managing, that I'm sure you've been in. Is there any singular thing as to why they would take a bullet for him? What is the style that makes him so endeared by all of the players that have played for him?
I think one of the things that Daryl used to say about Dusty that I remember is that he always understood your perspective, so that when it was a teaching moment, he would always make it be something where he would speak at the player's level. To understand, why a guy's doing something. And, sometimes he would challenge effort. And when he did, it was almost like Jewish guilt. He never yelled. He was always one of the guys. He always wanted to know what people were into, what they were doing, what they were saying. And he's hysterical. He is hysterical. When Daryl left the radio show to take the job working for Bob Watson, meaning he was going to be part of the suspensions. I've told that story to you guys before. I used to go down to the MLB commissioner's office and we would watch the footage and I would suggest games for suspension. And sometimes some of the suspensions were my doing. And we went into, I think it was a restaurant in Arizona during spring training. And Dusty gets up out of his seat when Daryl walks by and he says, "Uh-oh, CSI's here. CSI, let's get out of here. Everybody clear the building, and like he does that to endear himself to everybody. And I've never met a guy that doesn't love this dude. And it's apparent when I see what I saw last night was when he got the 2000th win, he players, but former players who just swear by the guy. What a great person.
Dusty Baker, the 12th manager in Major League Baseball history to win 2,000 games. He also had nearly 2,000 hits in his major league career. I
invented the high five.
He invented the high five?
Dusty Baker invented the high five. There's an ESPN 30 for 30 about it. Watch it.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All righty then. But I compare Dusty Baker a lot in terms of his overall career. It was very Joe Torre-ish until the championships.
Yeah, I was going to say one.
Joe Torre was a good manager. He was a good manager in Atlanta. He was a pretty good manager in St. Louis. Yeah, the Angels weren't that great. But, Joe Torre also was a very good player, not a Hall of Fame player, although he had an MVP season. But he was a very good player. Dusty Baker was a very good player on a lot of teams that won. And now I will say, there's a Cubs fan in our Twitch chat room who thinks that he was, tough on Pryor and Wood, and that he's the reason that they blew out their arms. And,
sure,
who knows?
Homer Bailey, he ruined Homer Bailey.
And so, but between the Giants
and when the Nationals were hiring their managers, I wanted Bud Black, just for the record.
Okay. But so anyway, we know that you have a relationship with Dusty. He achieved something last night. Very few have. We wanted to talk to you about it. Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream. You can follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett.
All right. I know where you are with the sport of baseball, but I'm just curious, when things like last night happen and something great happens, does it get you back at all, or does it just get you remembering what you loved most about the sport?
No, I don't think of it like one day I'm back and one day I'm not. I pay attention. I follow what's going on, and I watch what's been going on. What I'm looking for, to say whether I'm back or not is it's more of, there has to be a professional motivation to do it, but it also has to be, I have to see the evolution of the sport. Somebody on social media said that the Mets and Braves played a game in 2 hours and 10 minutes. And they said, see, it's back. And I said, okay, yeah, 1 out of 1,000. That's good. Okay, get me 10 more. Get me fast-paced games. The most egregious thing I've seen this season so far is the Clayton Kershaw. You're 6 outs from a perfect game. You stay in the goddamn game, and that's ridiculous. And then the other one is the 5-guy no-hitter from Friday night.
Right.
When I think of a no-hitter, I think of the attrition, the physical achievement. When 5 guys are no-hitting, I think it's more about the other team's offense. And it's not as special. Five people doing a no-hitter, okay. All it does is exacerbate the lack of offense. And Jason Stark was tweeting the other day, what is the major league average right now is 229?
Yeah, and I will say in April it was bad and a little bit colder month than normal, the abbreviated spring training and all that. In the last week, batting average is up over 10 points. It's up like 12 to 15 points in the last week. So I'm going to give it the rest of the month to see whether or not that was the aberration and what it is that the guys are going to settle at. It's getting warmer. We're now at the point where guys in theory would have been in shape, hitters and pitchers, the whole deal. So, but yeah, there's no doubt offense has been down, and
strikeouts are still up.
Yes, they are. They think it's a combination. Also the ball, people complain that this year the ball's not going. Although if you watch Judge and Stanton, that's kind of tough to hang your hat on that. Let me tell you.
And Seth, wow, just had a little bit of a brain cramp there, but
oh,
wow.
His name is Luis Domingue.
Well, that's where we wanted to go. We wanted to go to the backup goalie who had played 2 games this year in the NHL.
Former Devil's great.
Devils, great. I can't.
Is there such a thing from this century?
When you heard his name, did you really remember and go, "Oh wow, he played for the Devils"?
Totally. And I Googled him, and I went and I texted my 13-year-old who had already gone to sleep for the night. And I texted her and I said, "Hey, remember this guy?" And I texted a picture of Luis Domingue in a Devils uniform. And she said, "Yeah, what did he do?" I said, "You're not going to believe what he did. He got up, and I told the whole story about how he came into the game in the middle of the first overtime, and the next thing
overtime,
the second overtime, and just an amazing feat, to not be able to miss a beat. What a fan! The hockey playoffs are so stinking good,
aren't they? And we're 48 hours into it, and the complete story. Rangers, Penguins starting goalie, mid-second overtime, is hurt, takes himself out. The backup goalie's literally not even on the bench. He's sitting in the tunnel there, and he comes out, makes 17 saves. The guy played 2 games all year. He's 30 years old. He's best known for a cookbook.
I was going to joke that the Midtown Comics is like 7 blocks north of the Garden. Maybe he was there.
Could have been. And
instead of game notes, maybe a comic book was what he had with
maybe.
broccoli and spicy pork.
And that's the other part. If you don't know, literally in between the first and second overtimes, he ate. I mean, the game started at 7.
So he had a pregame meal.
So you figure what time is that? 5?
Noon. No. I mean, the players have a pregame meal. They don't eat before the games. They might grab a snack. Typically, the players eat after practice. So they were the road team. They practiced at 11 o'clock in the morning.
So they ate at 1.
Say 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Okay. And so there you go. And so now we're in between the first and second overtime. He hasn't eaten in 10 hours.
He doesn't think he's going to play.
No. So he has a big plate, he said, of spicy pork and broccoli. Right. And then about 15 minutes later, the starting goalie skates by him and goes, "You're in."
No, you can't see the light. That's former Devils great Luis Domingue.
For those of you watching on Twitch, Seth holding up his phone. All right. Quickly. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice text stream.
Sports with Friends is a fun one for if you're a basketball fan. Long time, 27-year trainer for the New York Knicks, Mike Saunders, joins us. Really fun conversation. He took over after the Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Earl Monroe years, but he was with Bernard King and Bill Cartwright and Charles Oakley and Patrick Ewing and all those guys, then all the way through Latrell Sprewell and the finals run there. Just a really fascinating conversation with Mike Saunders, former New York Knicks trainer.
Did you get into his, I believe it's Mike Saunders that has the Larry Bird story with the 3-point shot contest?
We talked about it a little bit. He talked about his all-star experiences. We went off on a lot of tangents, and so I'd heard that story, but he went into a lot of the all-stars, and he talked about a lot of the players that he knew. He did a breakdown of Bernard King's knee. I found it fascinating. Just the amount of preparation this guy needed to do just to get on the floor was pretty remarkable. We talked about the change in the NBA and how different it is.
And very quickly, when you blew out your knee in the mid-'80s, all right, it's a very different deal than when you blow out your knee 35 years later. Very quickly.
Hall of Justice, we review Moon Knight. The finale comes out today. The podcast comes out tomorrow. And Tech Stream is all about air tags and how dangerous they are.
If you don't know the story, someone leaving Disney found an air tag in their bags, which means they were basically tracked around the park the whole day. That would scare the ever-living you-know-what out of anyone.
Yep.
Oh, that's like right out of a movie.
There's a model in New York City that had that happen too, and she went to her house, and it's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy.
All right. Good
Thanks,
talking
Seth.
to you, buddy.
Shalom.
Seth Everett. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice text stream. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton. You miss any of the show? Well, that's why you go to FloridaSportsNetwork.com and MillerandMoulton.com and download what you missed.
Not to mention all the usual places to find your podcasts. You can get Miller and Moulton at any of those as well. We have completed the show. For those of you in Lake City, Port Charlotte, and Tampa, the bonus hour in the Fort Myers market is next. We thank you so much for listening to Miller and Moulton right here only on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourself,
All right, Bryce.
only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mami, a mí me gusta tu enciende entera. ¿Por qué? Porque ella me da.
Did you see what Khan opened up about Urban yesterday?
Did he?
Yeah. He said he did not get fired for the wins and losses. And he talked about, we had Doug Marrone here 4 years, and who was the guy before that? And Gus Bradley here 4 years. He goes, I give coaches time to work it out. He goes, but you can't keep a guy around who you've lost respect for, who you don't trust, who you don't think is telling the truth.
Wow.
When you lose the respect, the trust, and an issue of truthfulness, how can you work with someone like that? It's not possible. It's not about wins and losses. I think when you know someone is not truthful, how can you be around someone, okay? We had Doug Marrone here 4 years. We had Gus Bradley here 4 years. I have nothing but the utmost respect and friendship with them. That's why they got the time, because it wasn't a matter about respect or truth. It was just a matter about wins and losses. This is much bigger than that. Now, it should be pointed out that Khan and Urban are battling over money. I mean, Khan doesn't want to pay him the remaining 4 years on his contract. Meyer and the Jags unable to reach a settlement agreement on the 5-year contract that was worth $10+ million a year. Thank you, Bigham. Philly's trying to give himself a second wind over there, doing some bad dancing.
The fact that he smiles.
Oh,
at
this
himself
one
while
song
he's
came
dancing.
on.
This one song came on. You're doing a show here. What song? What song are you listening to?
La Mama de la
No,
Mama.
why are you listening to songs?
Oh,
What's better than listening to the show? That's what
Apparently.
he's saying.
silence is only filled in my brain with music.
When you start listening to music, let me know.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, JB Vike, I'm with you. I switched over to Warriors Grizz as soon as the Penguins scored. I said, oh, okay.
Don't ever say that ever again. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you went Jackson.
Wow, what's up, JM?
Oh,
my
man.
God. I don't make TikToks and put my phone out in public and publicly berate people. I keep it to myself. We're coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Bonus hour on this hump day. Thanks for being with us. First Wednesday in May, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. If you have never texted the show, FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. And you're in. You're through the security gate. You can text away. If you've already done it, text away. All times of the day and night. We see them, and we answer more than you think. And, of course, you could always take in the show live, 6 to 10 a.m. on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. Mark kind of gave a little sizzle to the graphics this morning, went a little darker blue, accents our logo, accents the colors in the Florida Sports Network. I like it.
I'm feeling it, Mark.
Good job by you.
Why, thanks. He at the end of Seth's interview there, he mentioned he has Mike Saunders, the former Knicks trainer.
Right.
And you and I were talking during one of the breaks, an article a few weeks ago in The Athletic about the legendary trash talking of one Larry Bird.
And I think in the article they went to like 16 or 18 former, guys who competed.
Teammates or opponents.
Right. So they had stories from like 18 people.
But Saunders told the story of at the All-Star game, Bird hitting all the threes. The next time they play the Knicks, he says to Bird, "You're not going to do that against us tonight." Bird looked at him and laughed and said, "I'm going to bank one in against you guys tonight." And Hubie Brown goes on to tell us a 2-point game. They get the ball basically, or Larry can dribble the clock out. They got the ball past half court, and Larry can dribble the clock out, and the game's over. He goes over to buy the Knick bench, banks in a 3, and turns and looks at all the coaches and the trainer. The one that I had heard that story before, the one that I didn't know anything about is two things, is that Bird would allow players to get around screens to get back to him before he shot.
Right.
He'd be wide open for a 3, but he'd wait for the guy who was getting ball screened to get back to him and just get close enough so he could bury the 3 in their face and then talk to him all the way back down. The second one is that the guy, one of the players said he pump faked a lot. So when Larry would pump fake you, he'd slap you on your ass as you went by and then make the shot.
What was the story about at the All-Star game, the 3-point contest, and he walks in the locker room and he's got his warm-up on and he basically verbally takes all of them down. You're not a threat. You're not a threat. Not you, not you, not you. You'll make the finals. Okay.
Which one of you is going to finish second?
Right.
Which one of you blank is finishing second?
Yeah, mother blank is basically what it is. If you are a subscriber to The Athletic, find it. Now, I was just on The Athletic to try to get a couple quotes, and I actually searched Larry Bird trash talking, and the article doesn't. As a matter of fact, I searched Larry Bird trash talking, and an article about the Toronto Maple Leafs appeared.
It has some of the best material that is out there. It is the worst website. The worst. Staggeringly bad. The material is amazingly good.
And they can't figure out their website, their app. I'm a big fan of the Score app. Really easy to get around, really easy to find everything. The Athletic is miserable.
Did you see the Urban Meyer, Shad Khan story?
See that I've seen it. I did not read through the whole thing. Someone in our Twitch chat room pointed it out to me.
Khan opened up yesterday. Don't know why, but he opened up and he said, I didn't fire him because we were 2-11 or whatever it was we were. He said, I fired him because I couldn't trust him. I didn't think he was truthful. And of course, it made me laugh when I saw it. You and I have publicly for 15 years said, listen, Urban's a great coach. Urban's a liar.
A flat out blatant liar, and has been throughout his whole career, and there's not much to argue about it.
No. I mean, he is full of blank.
Yep.
And we said, by the way, thought he's a tremendous college coach. Don't know how you could think otherwise. And we liked him on Fox.
Thought he was great on Fox.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how he goes back to Fox and has respect from the guys that are on the panel with him.
Well, it's happening.
No, I know.
I mean, it would take, although apparently a few people at Fox, and this became public knowledge, a few people at Fox are like, you can't hire him. Which I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Fox is going to hire him. Number one, I mean, remember, they hired Skip Bayless. Troy Aikman publicly said, all right, if you hire him, I'm out of here. And they hired him.
And he left.
Well, he tried to.
Finally.
And then eventually he did. So, but Mr. Khan was very open. Said, hey, Doug Marrone was here 4 years. Gus Bradley was here 4 years. He goes, I liked them. I respected them. I gave them a chance. I'm friendly with both today. Said, couldn't trust the guy.
Now, as you pointed out, they're fighting over money.
They are. I mean, he signed into a 5-year deal, $10+ million a year. And I don't think Khan wants to pay him any of the final 4 years. And I don't know about you, but if you owed me contractually over $40 million, I'd fight you for it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I like you and all, but sorry. A deal's a deal. You do know the perfect follow-up question, and all the credit in the world to RCB in our Twitch chat room, because I thought the same thing, RCB, and you beat me to it. I mean, as a reporter, that's where you want to go, okay, you don't trust Urban Meyer. Do you trust Daniel Snyder?
Well, I'd like to see how he backtracked from that question when you asked him, because he wouldn't give you an answer.
I mean, maybe he'd do the whole, got to see the evidence, blah, 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 blah.
But it's a hell of a follow-up.
It also, you then we wonder, because we're all assuming, let's face it, we don't think highly of Daniel Snyder. We're assuming the story's true.
Yes.
That he's ripped
That he
his
kept
fellow,
the money and,
right.
and ripped off the other owners.
And so it's not a ton of money in the grand scheme of things.
No, it really isn't. We've pointed that out. Even though it sounds, the number's big, when you divide it by the other 31 teams, it's not a whole lot of money.
Right. So, but you wonder when an owner says this about his former coach, that it was about trust. And he obviously, I mean, he fired him knowing full well he owed him $45+ million contractually. Whether he can get out of it or not is a different story. I mean, he knew when he's firing him, he's like,
I got to pay him. Or more than likely, I got to pay him.
So if he was willing to take that hard a line and admit public embarrassment, I'm the guy who brought him in. This was all on me. I was a fool. And then you wonder, well, will he feel any of that towards a fellow owner who he now, in theory, can't trust?
The difference is that obviously when you hire Urban Meyer, you have a relationship with him. We don't even know if he has a relationship with Snyder.
Right.
And that would be the easy out right away if he's asked the question. Well, I don't really have that same type of relationship. I don't hire other owners. I see him at this meeting. I see him at that meeting. I'm not on any committees with him. I mean, it's a pretty easy way to deflect. He did hire Urban. And we all know now that if you listen to Pat on our show, someone like Urban was interviewing Khan as much as Khan was interviewing Urban.
Well, I think once he agreed to pay him $10 to $12 million a year,
the interview process was over from Urban.
From Urban's standpoint, I think. So I get final say on personnel. Oh, okay. Yeah. 10 to 12 mil. I could move back to Florida. That works. Sure. Hey, one other note. We mentioned part of this story. We're keeping track of A's home attendance because the fans are really upset at the owner. And they've just flat stopped coming to games. I mean,
which is the way that you get what you want. I mean, if they leave, they leave. But if you really want to protest, you quit going to the damn game. And give the A's fans credit for, you know what, the boycott's on.
So a year ago, it looked as if the A's were staying, that they were working out this stadium deal. They got this one particular site, and it's near water and the whole deal, and they're going to do it. And then in late 2021, no, we got problems. City council, the environmental study, this, that, and the other thing. And so the A's, they're making one trip after another to Vegas. They're touring sites. That it's all very public. And since the Raiders already went there, I mean, how could you not think that the A's wouldn't follow, right? And Vegas is willing to, what do you need? We'll get it done. What do you need? So on the irony mark that they did 24-88 Monday for Rays A's, and before they did 28-15 for Rays A's last night, there was a big vote in which the A's have gotten what they want from local government. They got it. There's almost nothing holding the project back from the Oakland point of view. Maybe someone in Sacramento, the state capital, something with an environmental study or what have you may put the brakes on it. But even the A's came out yesterday and said, oh, this is big. So here's the irony. The fan base hates the owner now. This is Daniel Snyder and the Commanders' hatred towards him. They're not going to the game. Screw you. He got clearance yesterday for everything he's wanted. If you're the owner, do you want to stay? If you're the fans, do you want them to stay?
Where are you going to go?
Cincinnati? Mark, they've just done 5,300 people for 2 games total.
Right, and the fans have done what they're actually supposed to do. If you don't like the owner, you quit going to the game, but because he was moving. They didn't like him because he was leaving them. He was in another team, abandoning the city of Oakland,
yes,
and wanted out.
And they sold off 4 really good players this offseason, and they're honked about it. And the players know it, by the way. The players are on the fan side. They've said so publicly. Hey, we get it. We're not happy either.
But now what do you do?
Right.
Because if you get a new stadium, you would think there'd be an influx of money. You'd be able to get a few more players. You would put a better team on the field. Will they come back?
Does the owner want to stay, and do the fans want him to? City Council said, well, we did our job. Rest is up to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It'll be 2 flights. It's
Well,
like-
it'll be, yeah.
But
I don't think there are any directs to Mexico City. But there are a few more international flights than there used to be.
it's true.
Don't.
Now
Now let's see if there's RSW Mexico City.
God, that would be something.
Nope. Connecting. I will say you might be able to.
Are you ready, guys?
Drive. Miami sucks, but you could always do the rental car and direct, I bet you.
That's true.
I don't know if you'd want to do that.
But I'll be coming from a college game on Saturday, so I'll probably just go Atlanta, most likely.
Yeah, you'll be. Well, you might get there direct. When is it?
On Monday, November 21st. So it's the week before the really good weekend.
All right, let's see here. I don't think you'll be doing Georgia at Kentucky. Gators are off. What day is it? 24th?
21st.
Oh, November 21st. I'm sorry. That's a bad SEC weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Bad SEC weekend. You might be doing Georgia, Kentucky.
There's not an LSU game that week. Not an LSU or A&M game.
LSU plays UAB.
Yeah, that won't work.
A&M plays UMass. Auburn plays Western Kentucky.
I think we're doing Georgia, Kentucky.
Arkansas, Ole Miss.
There you go. One or the other. We'll do Georgia, Kentucky before we do Arkansas.
I mean, Alabama plays Austin Peay. It's the week before the Auburn game.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing Georgia, Kentucky. Tennessee at South Carolina.
Wait, Tennessee, South Carolina?
Yeah. That ain't happening.
Doing Georgia, Kentucky.
You're doing Georgia, Kentucky.
Game's at Kentucky, right?
Yeah. That sucks.
That is. God, I got to get from Lexington to Mexico City. Shit.
I may have to drive to that podunk Cincinnati airport because they're a Delta hub to get the hell out of there.
Delta to Atlanta to Mexico City.
Yeah, you got to connect there too.
Can't go direct?
Well, I mean, it's a hub in Cincinnati.
No. But I can go Cincinnati to Atlanta.
Yeah, they've got it going
direct.
through. They got it going through Houston or Dallas. But yes.
Okay. Well, without Marcus Smart, Deadstruck, I mean, the offense isn't going to look. They hit their threes. They hit 20 of 43 from three. Bucks went 3 for what, 17, something like that.
Giannis started out like 1 for 10, 1 for 11, something like that.
51-point difference from the arc.
Coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. 4 international NFL games announced today. 3 of them in Europe, 1 of them in Mexico. Mexico game now official, Mexico City. Monday, November 21st. Niners, Cardinals. The division game, DeAndre Hopkins will be back by then. Who knows who the Niners quarterback will be at that point of the season. Looks as if Jimmy G's not going anywhere. But,
speaking of quarterbacks, we talked yesterday about Deshaun Watson and what the possible suspension might be. Given the Hopkins 6-game suspension, we know it's apples and oranges. We get it.
right.
If you're Cleveland and you see this suspension of Hopkins and you start wondering what's going to happen, why is it you want to trade Baker Mayfield again if it's going to be 8+ games?
Well,
I know it's a bad look. I get it. But right now, Baker's stock is not very good. He had a bad year last year. We all know that he played injured. It could be better for Baker to play for Cleveland and play well for 8 weeks and get traded than it could be.
I thought there was a chance that they would hold on to him for this year because didn't they let their backup go to Buffalo? The guy who backed up Baker last year and made 2 starts, I thought he replaced Trubisky as the backup in Buffalo. And I thought the Browns signed Brissett. And until they signed Jacoby Brissett, Case Keenum, I think, was the backup.
There you go.
And Keenum went to Buffalo, and I believe Cleveland signed Brissett.
Okay.
And so I thought to myself, well, then they're probably ruling out keeping Baker. But yeah, I mean, trying to make the playoffs.
Exactly.
And say it's 8 games. I mean, can't you do 8 games with Baker? And then, sorry, dude, you're the backup.
And then at that point, if you want to just flat out cut him.
Which would be foolish, but sure.
But I don't know, how it works with, because if you're suspending a guy, does that whole thing, if he's suspended, he doesn't get paid. I don't know how Deshaun.
He can't even practice, is my understanding. So,
but how does it hit their cap?
Oh no, the money counts.
The money counts,
right?
But so they'd have to have it. I mean, but I don't know. Through the game's trade deadline would be about happening. Would probably have passed.
Now remember, they worked Deshaun's contract in a way where this year he's making $1 million. He was given a check for, I think, 45, but for this year he's making $1 million, so his cap figure's lower. But hey, Baker's still on the roster.
Yes.
So they obviously could afford to keep Deshaun, Brissett, and Baker because they're doing it now.
They'd have to make a decision when Watson comes back from a roster standpoint that they might have to let a Jacoby Brissett go. Or that's when they might just say, Baker, I'm sorry, you're done.
I thought Baker should have shown up for the workouts.
Agree with you.
And that he, at the very least, should have made Cleveland say, no, you need to go away. We will pay you to stay away. Don't worry. You're not part of the future. You will never take another snap here. But I thought Baker should have done that.
And then he forces Cleveland's hand as opposed to right now.
Yeah.
A bit of a.
He comes off immature,
Again, yes. By the way.
And so, meanwhile, if he had just gone and they told him, hey, there's no chance. You've taken your last snap with us. We thank you for your contributions. Appreciate you, being that professional and much of a team player and all that. But we are truly moving on. Oh, okay.
That's on you then.
Yeah,
I was the adult.
Right. Thought actually, there's a real chance he gets suspended here. 6, 8 games, whatever the case may be. Figure we'll have a better record with me at quarterback than Jacoby. I won't say that publicly, but that's kind of why I showed up. These are my guys. I know they're not going to be my guys much longer, but.
And then you make it uncomfortable for Cleveland and force them to make a decision. He didn't do that.
Well, especially now, because I'm sure the thought was 4 weeks ago when they had some sort of workout and Baker didn't attend. Remember, it was snowing. Deshaun walked to practice in the snow.
Right.
It's like second week of April, right when I think it was right around opening day of the baseball season, April 7th. I'm sure the thought was then that, well, we're going to trade this guy and we'll get something for him. Well, here we are, May 4th. Nobody's knocking on our door. Apparently Carolina was the only one who was calling during the draft. And once they were able to maneuver and get their hands on, I think it was Matt Corral, that's it. It was done.
Seattle showed no interest, at least so as far as we know.
Pete has all but said those words, we are not interested. And he went out of his way to say, listen, we got Drew Lock, we got Geno Smith, we got Jacob Eason. We're gonna let one of those 3 win the job and go with them and see how far we go. And what I think Seattle's also not saying is that, hey, who knows? Maybe we have one more bad year and we're in line to get a franchise quarterback next year.
So Baker's options now appear to be at best a backup somewhere.
Right. I'm telling you, Tampa. You get Cleveland to pick up. I think the Bucs already gave up 1 draft choice in next year's draft.
They did.
You say to the Browns, hey, I'll give you a 6th round pick. You pick up $15 million. We'll pick up the other 4.
And that's why the draft pick's going to be in relation to the salary. Someone may pick up more and have to get, I think you may have to give up a little bit more of a draft pick if you're making them eat that much of the salary.
And the only thing I would say is, if I was Tampa, come on. I know you could look foolish here, but if you're running the Bucs, you really think Brady's playing for you in 2024?
No.
I mean, I think if he's playing, to believe it or not, I think he'll be playing in Miami. But I don't think he's playing next year. I think him and Giselle are getting up and they're moving to South Beach, and they're going to have a nice life. And I do think Brady's going to try to get involved in the Dolphins or the soccer team or whatever. I do believe that. But if you're Tampa Bay, I mean, you're not going to be in a position to get a quarterback next year's draft. You got Tom Brady. You're going to win a lot of games. You got a better chance of winning the Super Bowl than you are being in a position to get one of the elite quarterbacks in next year's draft. Don't you have to start looking for life beyond Tom Brady? Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield now?
Baker Mayfield. It's not a question.
Right.
Baker Mayfield took a team to the playoffs, won a playoff game. Everybody has forgotten that. And this is the ultimate of one, we don't like that. There's a lot of people that don't like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he failed. So when you don't like a guy and he fails, we pile on. But if we were having this conversation a year ago, David, well, one, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Well, people would be mocking us and be like, what are you two yahoos talking about?
Baker Mayfield's going to get hurt. He's going to try to play through it. He's not going to play at all well. And he's going to get run out of Cleveland.
And remember, by this time last year, they'd already picked up his fifth-year option. Of course, Baker Mayfield's going to be the quarterback of the Browns in 2022. And I think if you're Tampa, I mean, Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask,
or Baker Mayfield.
It'd be worth it to me. You keep bringing in quarterbacks till one of them sticks.
And there are a lot of places that I don't think it works bringing Baker in as a backup. For instance, I don't know if you could do it in Dallas.
I think they should, though. Cooper Rush is their backup quarterback.
I know.
Your season's over if Dak gets hurt. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. Today was the day when, all that stuff. Next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Jaw flies.
Well, if you can just pick up the ball and do whatever you want while holding the ball,
Yeah, but we gonna take it to the moon, take it to the stars.
Need a nap today.
Oh, I need.
You don't have your final today, do you?
No.
When is that,
Should be
tomorrow?
done with it.
It opened yesterday. It's online. It's due tomorrow at midnight.
Oh, it's online.
Or no,
Oh.
it's due Friday at midnight. But man, I need a nap. I'm so mad because I think I just found out that I'm not going to be able to use the rec center anymore, which sucks.
As a former student?
Yeah. I can't even use it then. Guess they hate their alumni.
Well,
They also
don't you
want-
have an ID or something?
I do have an ID,
Okay.
but I have to scan it, and I guess I won't be in the system anymore. Those are where my hoop dreams are continued, man. I played yesterday a little bit, and I was tossing dimes to this kid who couldn't make layups. Wow, bounce pass between 3 people. Make your layup, please. I like padding my stats.
Adam wants Philly to give up basketball and start playing golf with you, Mark, at the club.
No.
No. No.
DC, I
anytime
do,
you
by
want
the
to play,
way.
guest fees are like $110 every time.
$110.
Actually, I think they're more than that. A little cheaper now that it's summer.
You
I think
got
high
it.
season it's like 150. So yeah.
Tertharian wants to know, did you change the channel at the club?
No, I didn't work out yesterday. I had appointments. I'm gonna do it this morning. I'm literally going right to work out after this.
I am going to nap right after this.
I have, unfortunately, errands that I have to do right after this.
You have to? Because you don't look as if you're going to stay awake for the rest of the show.
I mean, I don't have to, but I probably should.
No, you should nap is what you should do, because you look like you're a danger to society at large right now.
I should napa. But see, I can nap or play basketball in the rec center for one of the last times ever.
You could do both.
True. Then I have to do errands later.
They have to be done today.
No.
They can't be done tomorrow.
Oh. Okay, because
Do you have your reservation for Sunday?
Are you serious? You didn't make your reservations? It's graduation weekend,
It's
man.
Mother's Day.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Restaurant.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I did.
What'd you go
I
with?
was so confused. I was like,
Fancies?
I think we're doing fancies on Saturday after the graduation, and then Sunday morning we're doing
Skinny dogs?
Skinny dogs.
Yeah.
All right, good.
You're gonna wait at Skinny Dogs.
It's fine.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. You know, the Derby's Saturday.
I know.
We'll have our buddy Kurt Becker on the show.
Oh, fantastic.
Don't know if it's tomorrow or Friday, but he's coming on. Give us the winners. See if my horse Messier has a shot. All right. A lot of birthdays today. A lot of them. Let's get to it.
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul, to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
1776. Big year, Mark, in the history of this nation. Big. Rhode Island declared its independence from Great Britain today in 1776.
Did they care?
Great Britain?
Yeah, I mean,
No,
it was
they
Rhode
laughed.
Island after all.
I know. They laughed. They mocked. All right. Huh. Little did they know.
The Arthur movie, Rhode Island would kick its ass in a war. I'm telling you, this country is small.
93 years later, 1869, the first ever game for the Cincinnati Red Stockings. They beat the Great Western Baseball Club 45-9. Man, some big innings there. 1865, Lincoln was buried today. They moved slowly back in the day. 1904, construction began on the Panama Canal. 1949, a plane carrying the entire Torino Serie A soccer team crashes on the outskirts of Turin, Italy. 31 are killed. All of the rest of the league requested that the Torino team be awarded the championship. And so they stopped playing, and the Torino squad was awarded the championship. Nice act of sportsmanship.
It is.
1953, Hemingway wins his Pulitzer for The Old Man and the Sea. 1970. Oh, actually, 1963. Pitcher Bob Shaw. He pitched for the Milwaukee Braves at the time in the National League. Had 5 balks in a game. I won over 100 games in the majors. Made the All-Star game the year before. 5 balks in a game. That's a record.
Who was the ump?
Angel Hernandez. No, actually, Joe West.
I thought it was one of the other. Right? I knew I set you up for one of the other.
No, you know what? I blew that one. You set me up great. I missed the layup. It was Country Joe West. He was 9. First ever ABA championship. I did not realize this. I had never heard of either one of these teams before. The Pittsburgh Pipers beat the New Orleans Buccaneers in 7 to win the first ABA championship. I mean, you know, we've all heard of the Squires and the Colonels and the
Pipers.
New Jersey Nets. The Pipers beat the Bucks. Yeah. Pittsburgh beat New Orleans. Kent State was today in 1970. Felipe, anybody ever teach you about Kent State in school? That's all you have to say, by the way.
No.
Kent State.
It was the day that the National Guard fired on protesters protesting the Vietnam War and killed 4 students at Kent State University.
Yes.
28 National Guardsmen, 4 students killed, 8 wounded, and another was permanently paralyzed. And that probably was the tipping point in terms of, you know, we were divided as a nation, whether or not, you know, we should be in Vietnam or not. And that was probably the official tipping point of, you know, we need to get out.
And the song that memorialized it, written by a Canadian.
Go figure. 1979, Margaret Thatcher, first woman elected Prime Minister of the UK. 1984, Dave Kingman hit a fly ball at the Metrodome. It has still not come down. Ball got stuck. They didn't know where. What I'm wondering is, when they blew the place up, in amongst the rubble, did somebody find it?
And what did they sell it for on eBay?
Did they even know the story that it was Kingman's ball? Because, plenty of balls, hit speakers and this, that, and the other thing. No, he had a fly ball in a game, and it never came down. And it's not like 7 years later in a game it just fell out of the sky either. Where were we? The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, 1998. He was sentenced to 4 life sentences plus 30 years. Wow.
Where are you going to go?
Thought the life sentences might have been enough, but okay. And another thing. Albert Pujols got his 3,000th hit 4 years ago today in 2018. Since we're in early May, we've done this all week. Here are some of the Derby winners, Mark, who won their Derby on May 4th. Forward Pass in 1968. Some of these because the names are great. Cannonade in 74. Spend a Buck in 85. Strike the Gold in 91. Grindstone in 96. War Emblem in 2002. Orb, O-R-B, 9 years ago in 2013. And I was at your house, Mark. You threw a nice Derby party when Maximum Security won the Derby, and I had a winning ticket.
You did.
And then he got DQ'd.
Yes, he did.
And long shot Country House was ultimately awarded, I think over 50-1, was awarded the Kentucky Derby title. Audrey Hepburn, no longer with us, born on this day in 1929. Mark, a staggering number of people still with us, famous in one way or another, born on this day. Betsy Rawls, who won 4 U.S. Women's Opens, is 94. John Force, the drag racer.
Okay.
Many people know his daughter, but John Force is 73. Ken Oberkfell, 66. He was on that 82 Cardinals team that won the World Series. Bob Tway is 63. Dawn Staley's 52. Mark, this is for you and me. Joe Borowski is 51. Even Mark will acknowledge maybe the best show, the show that he most envied that I ever did solo, and it was right before we joined forces. I asked the rhetorical question, would you trade your life to be Joe Borowski? And he had been released, I think, for the second time in his career that day. And I had his stats and how much money he made. And the question was, you can only keep your parents.
And the number of divorces that show created is
That was essentially the best poll question I ever asked.
ever.
And for the record, Felipe, and we took calls and the whole deal. I was on location on Fort Myers Beach, 4 hours. It was 60-40 people would trade their lives. And
For
remember,
a journeyman pitcher who was out of the game.
but had 2 great moments in the game. He was the closer on the 03 Cubs who nearly went to the World Series. I mean, he had a couple of really big highs, and then he had multiple years where he threw batting practice.
And he would have one more run before this happened. He would have one more run and got paid. And this was before that.
Right. And the question was, would you trade your life for that of Joe Borowski? And the only part of your life that would remain the same is your parents. So that means you're trading your spouse, significant other, kids.
And people were willingly calling up the show saying, yeah, I'd give it all up.
All
Done
up.
with all of them. Wife, kids, you
Yep.
can have them.
60-40. I'd give it all up. Sorry. Mom and Dad coming over for Thanksgiving, though. Rory McIlroy's 33. Clarissa Thompson is 40. Victor Oladipo's 30. Randy Travis is 63. Mick Mars is 71.
Look at you.
Guitarist Motley Crue.
Look at you.
Come on now. And, of course, we follow Mick Mars with Lance Bass, who's 43. James Harrison's 44. I think he can still give you 20, 30 snaps a game. George Will is 81. And I believe the oldest of the Jackson siblings, Jackie Jackson, is 71. And that was today was the day.
This is really just for you. One small omission. 1974, the #1 album in America was The Sting. adaptations of Scott Joplin's ragtime piano tunes.
I was going
the
to say.
number one album in America.
And it was being played on AM radio.
It just goes back to what we were talking about a couple of days ago.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, go to Nantucket. In this story, could be the good, the bad, or the ugly, depending on your perspective. But Nantucket is one step closer to making all beaches on the island topless. Locals voted 327 to 242 to go topless on all beaches. The measure, called the Gender Equality on Beaches, reads in part, in order to promote equality for all persons, any person shall be allowed to be topless on any public or private beach within the town of Nantucket. For the back of Fort Myers, where, well, Dr. Jake Goldberger was woken up with a loud bang. That was because two people driving a U-Haul crashed into his house. The driver told him he was tired and lost before the crash. Fortunately, no one in the house was hurt. The driver and the passenger of the U-Haul were taken to the hospital with no life-threatening injuries. He said, Dr. Jake said, it certainly ruined my night, my neighbor's night, and all the neighbors up the street. It didn't affect the house, but the garage is gone. And finally, the ugly. We go to Port Charlotte, where firefighters in Charlotte County were battling more than the brush fires that they were dealing with over the weekend. They had to evacuate a bunch of people. One would not leave, however. Spencer Root, a convicted felon, is accused of refusing to leave a fire danger zone as it was within 150, as it scorched 150 acres near his community. When neighbors, along with Root, were trying to put out flames with a garden hose, firefighters came and said, evacuate. All the neighbors left. Root refused evacuation orders, went inside and locked the doors. After a few minutes, he came out with an open can of Bud Light in his hand. He's an idiot and was arrested. And that, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on May the 4th, 2022.
NBA playoffs tonight. Heat are home. They're 8-point favorites against the Sixers. I think the Heat win. I think the Sixers cover. Another game to adjust to no
big
Embiid.
number.
They were awful from three in game one. It's obviously a big game.
No Lowry. I'd take the points.
I'm taking the points as well. I do think the Heat win a close one. Kind of like their closeout game against Atlanta. They won by 3. They won but didn't cover. I could see the same thing. Phoenix, a 6-point favorite at home against Dallas. The Suns own the Mavs.
I love the Suns tonight. Lucas scored 45. They closed that to 7, but they were down by like 20 earlier in the game. Give me the Suns and lay the 6.
All right, hockey. Do the Bolts even things up in Toronto?
Yes.
I sure hope so, but I say no. Does Boston even things up in Carolina?
No.
I don't think so either. They haven't beaten them all year.
Love the Wild tonight, for the record, at home against the Blues.
One of the best home teams all year. What are the odds of them losing back to back? I do think they'll make a change in goal, though, and go to Talbot.
And Edmonton will get it done tonight at home.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But the Kings they're gonna hang around in that series. I mean, that series isn't going to shock you if it's 2-2, is it?
Not one bit.
Or 3-3.
Little day baseball in Miami. The Marlins are hosting the D-backs. That one starts at 12:40 this afternoon. And at 3:30, Rays at A's on a getaway day, David.
Oh, wow.
That's a 12:30 local start. I'm putting the over-under at 27.50.
I might hit the under on that one.
I'm going to hit the over because it's so nice. Remember, it is 27.50. If the same number of people show up today as showed up last night, I win.
Yeah, but Monday had the early game, and that was an under for that number, wasn't it? 20.
Yes.
They didn't even get 2,500 for that game.
So at 27.50, and I'm the only one going over.
Reds are at the Brewers. Brewers are minus 285 in that one, David.
And not to get serious for a moment, but, the Braves are 7 back of the Mets. And they lost 2 out of 3 in this series. I mean, do you really want to be 8 games out before the first weekend in May? It's a 1:00 game. I know they're the Mets and they're the Braves, but this is one of those games in which you kind of want to win if you're Atlanta. 6-back is a lot better than 8-back, even the first week of May.
Well, and you and I have talked about it. Look at those standings on Memorial Day and see how often they are a precursor to what the end of the season looks like. I'm with you, David. I think it's a far more important game than people give it credit for on May 4th.
I mean, the Mets had the game with the Braves today, and then they go to Philly for 4. I mean, if the Mets go like 4-1 in their next 5, their lead in the East is going to be close to 10. Early. Just a key little stretch there. Marlins need to avoid the sweep today also against Arizona. Felipe, I say you drive over for the Marlins game. You drove over for the Panthers. You'd fall asleep, end up in a ditch.
What time's the game?
12:30.
Dang, I'd have to leave right now.
He's thinking about it, though. He's 21 and foolish. He's thinking about it.
I've never been to a game that early.
You know, the thing I like about Philly is I could get him to drive to a lot of these games. I'd say, Philly, I'll pay for the tickets. You drive there and back.
12:40, by the way.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese